guys, welcome back to another episode of the Kit and Krysta Podcast. We're in episode 12.
Great.
And this week, it's all about Reggie, our favorite person.
We do love Reggie.
We love him, and his new book is coming out this week, so we're going to celebrate.
Speaking of Reggie.
All things Reggie.
I got a DM from Reggie over the weekend.
Oh, spicy,
which
spicy.
I've never done before.
Secret?
No. Which I will admit, my first emotion was concern, because it's like, well, Reggie's the big boss, you know. You get it's like, whoa, what's the issue here? Yeah, I was like, oh no.
I thought it was gonna be like, my first reaction was elation.
No,
because Reggie DM'd you.
He had some mayonnaise-based news article that he had seen that I guess word's getting out about the mayonnaise.
Well, he knows very well. He has gone to many, if not dozens, if not thousands, of dinners with you.
Well,
and has
listen. We're not going to Jimmy John's, all right?
Had to deal with your aversion.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's very well aware.
I wonder what Reggie's thoughts are on mayonnaise. I've never had them. He's a
connoisseur of food and wine,
so he would probably
enjoy. Not. He's very high class taste. I've always seen him eat very.
He would put that in the swill category.
Oh, the swill category.
Yes.
We should have a Reggie's.
Did not end up in the swill category. Yeah.
For people and for food. Don't end up there. You're gonna be stuck in the swill.
So yes, Reggie's on my mind too.
Yeah, Reggie's on all of our minds all the time because we love him so much and we're so excited for him. Big congratulations to Reggie for oh my gosh, he wrote a book.
Yeah.
Of course he would, because if anyone was gonna write a amazing book, it'd be Reggie. Right. We are going to share some Reggie stories, our personal stories with Reggie today on the podcast. But we also have a really exciting show coming up where we're going to go and drive around, because you guys seem to like the driving videos, which is cool because we like those too.
That's right.
And we're going to go and pick up a copy of Reggie's book.
Now, are you going to be getting the audio book or the actual page turner?
I'm going to get all the different kinds.
You're just going to get them all?
I'm getting all of it. I'm going to get I like the physical book to just have on my bookshelf.
To display? Maybe we can display it here.
We can do that, for sure. I have my Mr. Awada book as well.
Yeah, so you got to keep
those
those
together.
Right.
I think that's very cute. Reggie's narrated the audiobook, and I would love to hear his voice. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to get both. Yeah, that would be great.
But yes, we're going to go get the book. We're going to vlog it. That's going to be incredible.
That's going to be really fun. I called the bookstore to put the book on hold. I was shocked that the bookstore could do this.
Businesses are capable of selling you things, believe it or not.
We're still going to the bookstore, people. It's going to be great. Yeah, support the bookstores.
Well, it's not a very fun video if we just click an Amazon button now, is it?
I'm buying.
And done. Thanks for watching.
It's actually a minute.
Yeah.
Maybe 30 seconds. Speaking of the Kit and Krysta show, we had a really fun episode last week that's live now on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Kit and Krysta, which is us showing off part 2
That's right.
of our Nintendo treasures.
Now, going into it, it's we have a lot of stuff, but is there going to be enough to do a part 3 eventually? There absolutely is, because we forgot one of the big items, the Zelda scorebook.
I don't know how that happened. We had put them all on the floor, and we're a mess. Obviously, we're just
we had too much stuff.
We had a lot going on. There's a million coins everywhere, jangling around. Got swimmy. Yes, we have some really cool stuff. And the best part about showing off the items is really talking about the fun memories,
the stories behind it
associated with it. Because some of these items are just why do you have this children's book signed by Mr. Kamiya?
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Right.
But it was tied to a really cool experience that we had with him. So we hope that if you didn't get a chance to check it out yet, go ahead and take a look. We'll do a link or a card or whatever it is.
A lot of people asked if we'd been blocked by Mr. Kamiya.
No.
And I'd say no, but it's never too late. It's never too late to get blocked.
It's never too late to get blocked or unblocked.
Right.
So I feel like he likes
I don't think you get unblocked. What do you mean unblocked?
Sometimes he unblocks people.
I've
seen it happen one time or once or twice.
I'm not sure you're getting unblocked.
Oh, no, I ate carbonara with you. Don't block me. I like you. We are friends, okay?
There's too much carbonara talk the last couple weeks.
There's a lot of carbonara.
You gotta stop.
Somebody else was like, I love carbonara. It's my favorite food. I was like, wow. People are in for it. They want it.
Yeah.
They want the carbonara. We forgot about the thing on the top. You wrote a note. Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, this episode is out on Cinco de Mayo.
Yes.
Felicitacio. Oh, geez, I butchered
no, you
that.
really butchered that.
Well, anyhow. Felicitaciones? Is that it? No, I don't know.
You're not doing well here.
Anyhow, it's funny because at Nintendo, that's sometimes a day they would bring in lunch, which is nice.
That's really nice,
You have a Mexican themed lunch, but there would also sometimes be a sign that said not Cinco de Mayo, but Cinco de Mario.
Yes, and it was like really shopped together in a way
Right.
where, like, if Japan,
This was not an official.
no.
Like this was not.
No.
This was not even like a Nintendo design. This is like
No.
somebody in their spare time.
Somebody was
cooked
on
this
like
up.
on Windows and like did the clip art because it was like Mario with like a sombrero, not like an official Mario.
Oh no.
And it was kind of like, it was definitely a little bit like shaky,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that would be like sort of the signage around the office, and we would always be like, oh, don't let NCL get a sniff of this. They will shut it down. The other thing that was like super bizarre that we had one year was this Mario
I
piñata.
really dislike this.
You did not like this because people were beating on Mario with this massive bat.
It's like not only this is like some like
It's like a bootleg. It's a bootleg
piñata.
Mario piñata.
And then you just beat it up, and it's like, don't
Someone
stop.
was like wailing on Mario.
Please
like,
stop.
For like some crappy.
I'm like gonna
candy.
throw my body in front of this Mario piñata. That's how much Mario means to me.
It
Okay?
was so violent. Like, why
Well,
did we do that?
Never again.
Yeah.
That office is getting shut down for that reason.
That's right.
No, not exactly.
Shut it down. that's
Crimes against Mario.
well, maybe if they
Pull the
found out
plug
about
on that.
Woo. What else is all going on? Today.
Uh-huh.
Do you have something to say or what?
Well, let's see where you're going with this.
I was going to say today we're going to be filming a really cool video where we finally get to box because that's what the people want.
So you're getting your videos out. The Reggie vlog is going to be next week.
Right.
So this week, though,
Yes.
we have the ultimate
Switch Sports
grudge match.
Switch
Sports, but also
Wii Sports.
Wii Sports Resort.
Resort.
Yes.
Resort.
We're doing 3 rounds with each game gets its own round. This is so
That's
cool.
right. There's going to be a wheel of death. There's going to be people getting punched.
I have the Wii U is here. I have been experimenting with Wii mode.
It's not great.
I found my old me from 2006. You were like, I can't believe that's from 2006. Like, well, that's when it came out, so believe it.
I could not believe how you looked in 2006.
Well, they
as a
didn't.
me.
The Mii's back then were much more limited. They did not
Yeah.
have my signature fish lips.
I had to make my me on your Wii U
Yeah.
for it, and I was like,
What's happening?
there's not
This
very
is a
many
time warp.
options.
This is a time warp, yeah.
Like we did not have the customization
Right.
options that we do today, which good on us for making the strides
Right.
in that positive direction because they're limited. So yeah, that's gonna be really fun. There's gonna be a lot of like, I think, things in the video that you wouldn't expect. So we hope you watch it.
Please.
It's gonna be great.
Yes.
That will be up this Friday.
Right.
Yes. Okay. What else do we want to talk
We
about?
had a really busy week last week, I gotta
really
say.
did.
My gosh. We were on Min-Max Trivia Tower,
That was really fun.
which was exciting.
and the most amazing gif of you came out of that with you in a Wario hat.
Oh, that one. Well, we might have gotten a little bamboozled.
I feel like Ben, our friend and friend of the show, like tricked us into this.
Yeah, I think so. Because it was like, well, we're going to have your community versus our community. And, maybe we can come up with a fun little bet to see,
Yeah.
Based on who the winner is.
And the bet was like done like moments before we went live. It was like 2 minutes before we went live. It's like, how about this for the bet? We're like, okay.
Yeah, and it's like, it's already like, it's like the sports team going on the road. It's like you're in the hostile enemy territory.
We're not in the home turf.
Yeah, it's like, well, not all of our people can go join, your usual min-max thing. And, we had some people on our community that incredible.
Right.
Jay Rando. Gets a special shout out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He made it to almost the final round.
Right.
So.
But we lost, and now we have a pinned tweet on our Twitter channel, which I will be unpinning immediately at the stroke of midnight on Friday, which is as soon as I can. I'm legally not quite obligated.
We didn't write that tweet, by the way.
He did.
He did.
Well, why would we write it?
Exactly. I'm just saying. I'm
My
just
gosh.
setting the record straight.
No.
We were coerced This is like blink twice if you're under duress. It's like, yes, we are under duress. But our community totally represented. It was amazing.
Like I said, now you can look forward to our new program, Brain Twister Barnyard.
Brain Twister Barnyard.
It's a hot, original new idea that we just came up with.
Right now, in this moment.
You won't believe it.
It was really fun, actually. It was really, really fun. I just cannot believe how much you, like, people out there, our community included, knows about like some deep cuts.
Some of those questions were very obscure.
So obscure.
Like there was like I definitely knew a good number of them, but there were also some where like I have no clue.
No clue.
Yeah.
And some of the challenges with that is like typing the thing incorrectly in Discord.
That's the how quickly can you get it out?
Like some of these names are long, you know, like spelling it right.
The sharp FE.
Sharp FE will live on in infamy.
Get it right?
Forever.
That was one of the questions. Yeah. Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE.
Tokyo Mirage Session.
And then
on
Saturday we had our first One Up Club meetup.
It was so fun.
And One Up Club is one of our tiers on Patreon, of course.
Yes.
And this is a wonderful perk that we do monthly. And we had a great time just hanging out.
Yeah.
And we did trivia, Kit and Krysta trivia, which somehow you didn't know.
Some of the answers I didn't even know, but you guys
Explain yourself.
Jay Rando also did very well in that, which was...
Why didn't you know this?
I don't know, in math.
There's nothing to do with math. This is your life.
No, it's math. The math question was like, what is the height difference between
You should know this.
I don't know. How tall are you again?
Oh, come on.
6 something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was there were four choices. All 3 of them were very wrong, except for the one. You should know this. How dare you?
Sorry.
We did a live reaction to an old episode of Nintendo Minute.
Spilled some tea on that episode,
fun.
which was really fun.
It was a bad look for you coming out of that one.
No, it was a good look for me. I got compliments after that. A lot of compliments, actually.
Okay.
Check the Discord. There are compliments.
Oh, the
Thanks,
Discord,
guys.
yes.
We did like a live Q&A with everybody and just kind of like hung out and got to know you guys, which was like my favorite part. It's just, you know, we see you guys in Discord. You guys are always in our
we
comments.
take your questions every week, but got to see some people's faces for the first time.
Like
get to chit chat with them. Very wonderful.
Yeah, it was just so nice. And we're gonna do these monthly. So if you're wanting to check that out, like join our Patreon family. We have a lot of fun together.
But we were chatting last week. Like, do you think everybody out there knows what Patreon is?
Yeah.
And I'm willing to guess there's a good number of people who don't.
Right.
So maybe just take a minute and just give a quick little overview of not even just what we're doing, but what is Patreon?
Yeah. Patreon is basically a service.
Well,
how do they describe it? I think it's a service that you can use to support creators that you like and you want them to continue creating content. You know, for us, like we talked about before, like when we left Nintendo, this is like now our full-time thing, you know? We want this to be a very long-term new career for the both of us. And we need you guys, basically, like to help us keep it going, you know? And also to help us expand. You know, people have already talked about like, what else are you guys planning for the future? Like we want to do so much more. But to do that, we need your support. And Patreon is the way to do that. But you also get a lot of really cool perks as well.
You get a lot, yeah. We have 3 different tiers, a $5, a $10, and a $15 tier. You know, it starts off with, you know, stuff like early access to the podcast. But, you know, I think our favorite, well, I don't know about you, but one of the favorite things that I like that we do is the bonus Q&A every week. Yeah. We do basically, you know, the sides of the Q&A that we do in these podcasts, we do a whole nother one that's exclusive on Patreon.
Yeah.
And we have so many questions. Our cuppeth runneth over.
Our question cuppeth?
With questions. So we're actually going to do a bonus Q&A. Get that?
Bonus.
Got that?
Yes.
And we're going to put it out just for everybody.
So you can get a little flavor.
You get a little taste
of
what that's like if you're curious about it.
Yeah, and one thing about the bonus Q&A that's been really funny is somehow, so we record the podcast, and then somehow there's always some like breaking news right after we record the podcast. So we've been using our bonus Q&As as a way to really react fresh to those breaking news moments as well. So that's been just like an extra thing we layered onto the bonus Q&As, which has been really fun for us. And I think people that are getting the bonus Q&As are enjoying that as well.
Yeah.
And of course, we answer the actual spicy questions on
Right.
the bonus Q&A. You just looked at the Q&A. You're like, oh, shoot, I made a mistake.
I need to move one over.
You're moving one over because that question is
too hot.
spicy for this.
Too hot. There was some breaking news as I was about to head out the door. It's like, oh, I need to update the news story. So we caught it. We caught it this
time. But I mean, if it's like anytime after we start recording,
right.
like we kind of miss it in the show, we always touch on it in the bonus Q&A. So that's always a fun little extra like something in there as well. But
yeah, Patreon's really the hub of our community, and the start of a month is I think the best time to join up because you get the full month experience. So if you haven't yet, definitely check it out and consider joining. Yeah, we'd love to have your support. So thank you so much. And of course, if you're enjoying the podcast, make sure to like, subscribe, follow all the things, share. Yes. Do it. Do the things. Yes. All right. Should we talk about Reggie? I'd love to.
Oh, good. This week's story time is all about the big man himself, Reggie, who we have enjoyed many great years with. And weirdly, again, it's one of those things where it's like, why am I, as this lowly, manager or whatever, like even before I was promoted to whatever, why am I getting such great access to Reggie?
When did you first meet Reggie?
Early days. I think I was like an admin, like a year in. Like Reggie had started probably how many years before me? Maybe like 3 years before?
Well, it was still the GameCube times.
Oh, okay. So more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember my first E3. He and I shared the first E3, which I think was 2004, which was when he had his incredible, presentation.
Right.
Taking names. About taking names.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. The taking names line. Right. Right. So about 3 or 4 years before I started. And the thing that was amazing about that was just like how he was just like among the people, as they say. He like wanted to know what you were doing. He was interested in getting to know you as a person. Yeah. Like it's just such a wonderful trait that a leader at that level would have. Yeah,
he would come to our office fairly often, and you would know it because he would just going down the hall. Hey, buddy, how's it going? What's new with you? How was that thing you're working on? And it's like it's awesome because he knew everybody. But if he didn't, he's like, I want to learn your name. Like, let me know, and he would remember it.
He would never forget anybody's name. It's incredible. I don't know how he did it, but it was really incredible. Yeah. So. And from there, I think we were both on the communications team, and part of that is working really closely with people like Reggie. Yeah. Reggie would do interviews, for example, with media, and we would be the ones to like prep him. Right. We would work together with him on writing, the Q&As, and we call it the key messaging, all that stuff, like the message track. So we would be the ones to like really prep him for all of the big like media things that he, or our team, I guess, would be doing. When he went on Jimmy Fallon, for example, we had people on our team that was like putting that together for him. And then of course, when we launched all of the Nintendo social media stuff, Reggie, we talked about this before, he's just a good sport. He's like always willing to do whatever. Right. So we had such like carte blanche to ideate these really fun, like come up with these really crazy like things for him to do, whether it's like dancing to the yokai watch thing or firing Bill.
The Nintendo of Canada one, where he's pigging out on pancakes with the maple syrup. I was like, is this offensive to Canada? Like, this is like stereotyping.
Oh, not if he does it.
What's going on here? This is what Canada wanted.
Canada wanted it.
They asked for this.
They wanted
He was glad to do it.
He was glad to do it. He wanted to eat pancakes. So he would do like all sorts of fun things. And like, oh my gosh, the other really cute thing that he used to do is if he was going to be playing a game live, he really would like almost like study to make sure he like played it well. Yeah. So he would get like people from our treehouse to like help him and like teach it to him, make sure he knew how to play. Like he was like really just like so dedicated to all of that. Yeah. And it's great. So we have like millions of Reggie stories and just such a wonderful relationship with him. And even after we left Nintendo, he gave us such great advice. Right. And as we were considering...
He was one of the people that gave us the nudge to do this.
And he was one of the people where you know, when we were considering like what should we do? Should we leave? Should we do this our own thing? He was the one that we went to as like a sounding board to help us make that decision. And we, of course, we trust him so much, and that meant a lot, you know, when he kind of gave us that vote of confidence. So, but we have one story that we want to share about Reggie today, and there's dozens more that we can share later.
Yeah, we do hope to have Reggie on as a guest.
Yes, of course.
Sooner than later.
Yes, he's very busy.
But I think this is, especially this week, But this is one where I think it's okay for us to do without him here.
That's right. When he's here, we can really dig into some of his his memories of what happened that day. Because I have a lot of memories of from me, like my perspective. But this one was really funny, and just a great example of just what a boss Reggie is. So there is this thing that the ESA, which are the guys that run like...
What does that stand for?
Oh,
boy.
I don't know.
You're already wrong.
What is it?
Entertainment Software Association.
Sorry.
Yes.
They're
sort of the government regulate. I mean, they're not part of the government. They're the regulating body of the video game industry.
Yeah.
You know, they used to be in charge of doing E3.
Right.
They do a lot for the industry.
They do like the government lobbying stuff that I personally do not understand, but it sounds important. So like,
let them handle that.
Let them handle it. Yes. Let us play the games and let them handle it.
I would want no part of that.
But what they do, they used to do this, and then, you know, the pandemic happened and haven't had one for a while, but this is a charity event that they did every year called Night to Unite, where it was usually in San Francisco, so it's in our backyard, which is
it was always timed around GDC when the industry was in San Francisco. So it was like March-ish time.
Right. And so, you know, they would invite people from the industry, developers, publishers.
Well, you're not invited because you got to buy your way in.
Well,
and it ain't cheap.
It's for charity, though, so it doesn't matter. You buy these tables. They have sponsors. Nintendo has been like a platinum sponsor of Night to Unite for many, many years, along with some other huge publishers, including you know Xbox, PlayStation.
Yeah, but pretty much the whole industry
kind of
goes to this. And it's like, this is a good thing to do.
It's a big deal. Like it is a like they have a lot of like, you know, they use the money for like good stuff, so it's kind of a big deal.
And they'll also do as part of that event, Lifetime Achievement Award, which I believe Mr. Miyamoto won at Night to Unite one year, and they always have some really cool, you know, person who's there and kind of reflect on their career.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is a very like high end black tie,
it's a black tie event,
super formal, but they have auctions too. So there's the silent auction where you can just go around and, you know, all the companies contribute things. Right. So there's cool like, you know, memorabilia,
prizes and stuff,
stuff that you haven't seen. But they also do the live auction, which is crazy to see.
The live auction is always crazy. It's like, who's going to be that cheap table?
They're really like twisting people's arms and like guilt tripping them.
You don't want to be like that publisher or that person at that table where people know, like, you have money, like, you need to donate.
Yeah, I feel bad. I actually feel bad if you're, like, you know, the executive from whatever company and all your people are there and they're just like, hey, are you cheaping out? Because you have to, you really feel like you have to buy something.
You need to, like, discuss this beforehand and come up with a strategy. Yeah. Like, we're, at a table, we're going to put in X amount of money and we're going to, you know, do this together.
Or find a way to be strategically outbid. I just missed it. Oh,
like $10,000. Darn,
I really wanted that.
That wine country trip. But it's like, you know, it's a classy event. It is, like you said, it was
pure class.
It is. There's no soul there. Actually, that was the event where Reggie told me my wine was soul. But anyways, so we were there to be seat fillers at the Nintendo table.
We were last second invites. Because there was, I don't know, somebody had fallen out. Somebody was sick that day.
I was like too lowly to be invited to this event. At first, you know.
But it's like okay, well, it's in San Francisco, so we need somebody from the Redwood City office. Yeah. You know, a lot of the high-end people from that office were already planning to go. So it's like, we paid so much money for these seats. Like we need to fill this table. We need to use these.
Also, it's a bad look if your table is like half empty. That's really bad. Right.
So, you know, I got asked, and eventually you got asked. But it was like hours before the event when you got asked.
It was like 6 hours before the event. And so when I got asked, they were like, you need to go home and get dressed. I was like, okay.
You look like a mess. You need to get
You're
dressed.
in like not
clean yourself up.
Not this outfit. Your outfit right now ain't gonna cut it for night.
You're gonna get kicked out. You're gonna embarrass us.
Home and get yourself together. And I was like, okay. So I gone home and like literally had to like scramble to find like a black tie.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Good thing I have a huge closet full of useless clothes that I never wear, including gala attire. So was able to throw that together. Looked great. It was fun.
Yeah.
So anyways, we all show up. We're in this what hotel was it? At the Cliff House? No.
There's
the Palace?
the Fairmont Hotel.
Some nice,
a very nice hotel
nice
in San Francisco.
Hotel, yeah.
I remember for me it was pouring rain,
That's
so it
right.
took me forever to get there. I was like, oh gosh, am I going to be late? I was a little stressed out, and like I didn't know what to expect because I'd never been to this before.
Yeah.
But it ended up being fine, and I think I ran into you pretty early on.
Yeah, I think I'd like gotten there too, like
Right,
at the same
right.
time. And like, you know, they have like a cocktail hour and then you go in for dinner
Yeah.
or whatever. So we were kind of like trying to meet up with people that was from Nintendo at the time. Everyone was kind of a little scattered and arriving at different points, and you know, we had like gotten a little settled and we're talking to people and stuff like that. And then here comes Reggie.
Yeah.
Sauntering down the hall, you know, with his big presents, right?
Wearing
Reggie.
something you might not have expected him to be wearing.
Yeah, so he's in literally jeans and like a tech vest.
A branded Nintendo tech vest.
Tech vest,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he looked great,
Yeah.
obviously.
But it's like what he might have worn to the office on a light meeting day.
Yeah, like Friday afternoon office
Right.
attire. So we're like,
Oh.
hey, Reggie.
You gonna go up and change like now?
You staying at the hotel?
What's going
Like,
on?
what's going on?
Yeah.
Well, what happened was he had just flown to San Francisco and they lost his luggage with all of his clothes.
Unusual for him because I know he is
Never checks a bag.
he is very much the carry-on kind of guy.
He was
so
like, the only time I check a bag, they
Yeah.
use my bag. This is why I don't check a bag.
right.
I'm like,
So
oh
I
my
don't. He must
gosh.
have been doing an extended stay if he had enough to
and
check.
maybe the suit was too large.
Oh yeah.
Like
right,
I feel like that's
right.
pretty big.
You know, there's a regular suit, there's a 3-piece suit, and then there's a Reggie suit. You don't know how many pieces there are.
7 pieces.
I don't know. You just keep adding pieces.
Layers and
top hat,
vest upon
spats,
vest.
monocle,
We need the tails.
cufflinks,
Oh,
tails, the cummerbund,
Cummerbund.
multiple ties,
Bow ties,
Yeah.
ties, ascots.
ascots, smoking jackets.
Smoking jackets.
Yes, all of these things.
Yeah, so he could have had a whole arsenal of formal attire
Right.
in this lost
Yeah.
bag because he was in a tech vest and jeans. But he did not care.
He didn't care.
And no one cared. I mean, everybody was like, he just was so confident.
But that's like something out of somebody's nightmare. It's like, oh, I'm going to this
my God,
black
if that
tie
happened to
event,
me, I would
and I'm showing
die.
up in my schlub clothes.
Yeah, I would be.
That's
I would be
literally
like, I can't-
somebody's nightmare.
And like, it's not like it's not like he had the option of not going.
Right.
Like there is no option. So you're just like, if that happened to me, I don't think I would have handled it well at all. You know, I would
Cried?
just like sulk in a corner, like make a dress out of a curtain or something.
I would have
like,
sent somebody on a run, like, hey, go to the mall and get me some clothes. Like, I will not be seen.
Go to the
Yeah. Go.
But he didn't care at
He
all.
didn't care.
He was drinking the good wine.
He was hamming it
He
up.
was
Yeah.
just like
He
happy.
was
as a
glad
clam.
handing. How are you? Great to see you. Pat on the back.
Pat
Hey,
on the
buddy.
back. Yeah. He looked
Work in that room.
work in the room in the tech vest. Looked great. Everybody could not say peep to
Yeah.
him because he was big man Reggie.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna say?
Can't say anything.
No.
No,
You dare
can't-
not.
Dare not. And also, what you?
Strangely, we were fine to say something.
like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
What happened?
Well, he was fine to share
Yeah,
with us
right.
because he knows us. It's not like we're like strangers or whatever. But he went through the rest of the night in those clothes.
Sure
and
did.
Did not give two.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't care.
And then afterwards, I remember there was a great rendition of Toto's Africa by a cover band in a tiki bar.
That's right.
That
that
was-
was so.
that
I
was-
have a picture from that night that mysterious trainer Mike took
Right.
of the three of us, and it was literally the worst picture anyone has ever taken of me in my entire life. And I was like, this is horrible.
Well, who knows what state you were in by the end of that night?
I was
My
feeling
goodness.
great.
All right.
I
Yeah,
was
maybe
drinking.
that's what I mean.
According to Reggie, I was drinking the swill
Maybe you were
wine, so
feeling a little too
I have
great.
no idea what happened to me at the end of that night. Anyways, that was one of my favorite memories of Reggie. because it just showed what a boss he is.
Yeah.
You know, he's just like so confident and just such a cool person all the time that it matters not.
Yes.
You know, so.
No. We're very glad to celebrate Reggie this week. I hope you all go out and get his book.
Yes.
We have not read it.
No.
I'm sure it's great, though, and I'm sure it has some wonderful advice for professionally and just in life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because that's what he's about.
That's what he's about.
Yes.
Yeah, we hope you guys all pick it up. But yeah, that's our little Nintendo story time this week. Shall we move on to our Never a Minute segment?
We shall.
Very different than what we've been talking about right now.
So, constantly of interest, constantly happening around us are the console wars.
Oh, the console wars.
I grew up amidst the console wars.
It has traumatized you
the
in certain
Nintendo,
ways.
Sega rendition of that. We will tell that story someday. Traumatic as it may be.
Yes.
But, you know, we're going to solve the console wars.
Once and for all.
Just close the book on it.
That's right.
So we're going to do something we used to do on Nintendo Minute is a debate.
Yes.
A heated, spirited debate.
Yes. Yes.
So we are going to be debating the two. I mean, there's definitely more sides to this, but you are going to be representing PlayStation, and I'm going to be representing Xbox.
Yes.
And we're going to see once and for all who's right, who's going to have the upper hand. Look at how high I'm putting my hand.
My hand doesn't.
The upper hand. I already have it.
You have the literal upper hand.
I do. Yeah.
I can't argue with that really because that's bad. But I can't argue against why PlayStation is better than Xbox.
Is this just going to be baseless attacks against me?
Pow! No.
Be like,
of course not.
You're ugly. You're dumb.
What?
What are you doing? You getting your phone up? Are you getting like?
I'm getting text messages from
JP
PlayStation.
Like John Q. Sony is like. Got a bug in your ear, or is he gonna?
Is that you?
You gonna conference him in or something?
Yeah.
Like what's going on here?
Like he talked to Sid.
It's Kratos. He's gonna call me boy.
Kratos is gonna mess you up.
Yeah.
You better be careful. I am pulling.
What are you
up
doing
my
though?
Beautiful arguments that I have on my phone.
Oh, they're on your phone.
Very
you can't show up to a formal debate
professional.
with your look at your phone. The judges are going to put you in contempt. You're not following proper debate rules. Did your school have a debate team?
We did. Did you join it?
I didn't have one. We didn't have one. No.
Oh, I had one, but I didn't join it because that was bad.
Doesn't seem fun.
Oh, what about mock trial? That's like similar.
Mock trial? Oh my gosh, no.
It's like similar. We had that too. Also didn't join that.
No, I did not have
It's very intense.
Wow.
Anyways.
Some people like to argue. I don't really like to argue.
Are you serious right now?
I don't like to argue.
You love to argue. That's like your favorite pastime.
A lot of times I'll just be like, you're right, I don't care.
I'll
just concede.
All. You don't.
Well, sometimes your arguments are so bad I have to squash them.
That is not.
I have to dump
a
water
very
on them.
distorted view of who you are.
I'm very easygoing.
You're very particular, actually. You're not easygoing at all. Anyways, let's not argue.
Go.
Let's not debate each other.
I'm going to be a gentleman and let you go first.
All right.
Yes.
That sounds
wow.
Right.
Look how great that
This is
works.
like a strategy against me.
No,
so
it's
you can,
not.
Fight me.
Of being a gentleman.
Okay.
Of having class. Please.
Put on those tails and cuffs.
Please go
right
ahead.
now.
Yes, my ascot, my neckerchief, and my handkerchief. Please begin.
Pocket square. Well, I'll just start with something that's pretty obvious about PlayStation that we all know and love, which is that they have very strong first-party IP, or PlayStation exclusives, I should say.
Okay.
You know, we have titles that we know and love that are very highly produced, very cinematic, just like very well done. You know, do you have to name them? God of War, Horizon.
Never heard of it.
Last of Us.
Huh?
You know, those games that you know and love. Yes. And the other kind of a cool little factoid that I saw was that in 2020, PlayStation exclusives have won the most Game of the Year awards. So it just speaks well.
Say that again?
PlayStation
In 2020, they won the most? Or
Yes.
in history?
In 2020. I believe it's also in 2019.
Well, I think that was for Last of Us then.
They won a lot. I mean, their games are, you cannot deny that they are.
What are your impressions of Last of Us Part 2?
Well, I didn't
A game
play
you
that
never
game.
played.
But I played
I'll let you
other
finish. I'll let you finish.
PlayStation exclusives.
Okay.
This is where they need a 1 minute timer. Don't be that person that we don't like that is always like interrupting. The
Please.
Yeah, but they have these games that are undeniably really high quality, and they are good enough to win a lot of these really prestigious awards.
Okay.
That you can only play on PlayStation, you see.
That's what they say. Only on
Only
PlayStation,
on,
yeah.
exclusively on.
True.
So, yeah.
Okay. Have you concluded that argument?
And done.
Thank you. First of all, wonderful argument. I'm glad you're here. I'm so glad to be debating it against somebody I hold in such high esteem.
Don't be sarcastic.
I'm not.
You are.
I'm starting this with class, and
not.
you're already.
You're trying to be antagonistic by being classy.
Oh my god. I think I agree. Who can deny the high production value of those games? Unfortunately, I think the production value is so high they might put the company out of business soon.
Oh, let's be real.
It really led to Sony nickel and diming all of us with this, PlayStation Plus and what have you. But anyhow,
still buying it.
If you want to talk about exclusives, I think Xbox has the great strategy. If you can't beat them, buy them. So soon, in addition to all of the great first-party stuff, Halo, Gears of War, Fable, Forza, now we're adding the Activision library of hits, Call of Duty, the biggest game.
Do you feel that? Oh, sorry.
We've got Bethesda, all of their, Elder Scrolls, we've got Doom, all the future games to come, and all these other smaller studios too. It's not just the AAA. We have the full spectrum of games, from the biggest of the big to cultivating the grassroots indies of tomorrow. That's the portfolio.
You spit in my eye.
The Xbox portfolio and promise to the consumer.
But do you feel like all their AAA titles are very samey?
Like what?
Like these shooters. They're
Okay.
very I play them. They're fine games. But do they feel innovative? Do they feel like they are pushing the entertainment value of video games? When you're just playing another COD, I did say
Don't
COD.
call it that.
Just antagonism. And you're playing another Gears, and you're playing another whatever, Halo.
Okay.
I mean, sure.
Playing another Horizon.
Here's Master Chief again.
Playing another Killzone.
But I feel like these games that PlayStation has put out really sort of innovate. They innovate as they get better. As we put more series into the franchise.
Kratos found a new way to crush somebody's head.
But that new God of War game really has more relationship development between the child and the thing. The story is pushed forward. Like there's a lot more than just let's make another shooter.
You told me you shed a tear about the Master Chief weapon
I
relationship.
have not shed any tears.
You shed a tear.
That is the worst story ever.
All right,
okay?
we're getting into tangent here. What is your next argument?
My next argument.
Do you have one?
Is that the PlayStation, just the hardware, the design, just like the power of the system.
Yes.
Has always been top notch.
Right.
Like they had not only of course PS5 is the most powerful system right now, but the other systems too. They're reliable. The designs are fairly nice looking. They're very well thought out. And they don't have issues like how you had to go through 7 Xboxes because of the Red Rings of Death. They don't have those kinds of problems with the hardware that Xbox has. It's very good. It's very solid.
Ma'am, that was 20 years ago.
But it happened to you personally.
But it was 20 years ago. And the pain, the millions of dollars that the company suffered because of that.
Because they were bad.
They learned from that. They will never have that happen again.
Really, though?
Never.
I don't think so.
They'll never have it
They just
again.
don't have the know-how to build solid hardware.
No. And again, Sony's giving you one shot. You have $500 or you can get the discless one. We have the great Series S, which you are a happy owner of. Which you can get at the low price of $300.
Okay.
Giving people choices. And let's not forget
PlayStation
the
gives you
infamous.
choices, too. You have the disc or without the disc.
That's what I said. $500 or $400. The infamous
$100.
$599 PlayStation 3 translated into today's dollars is like $1,000.
But it worked.
Ken Kutaragi.
Really well.
That did not work well.
It worked well.
Ken Kutaragi personally insulted me when he told me to get a second job. I worked my finger to the bone. And he told me to get another job? Yes, I bought the PlayStation 3 at $600, but I was not happy about it.
But you used it and it worked.
No.
You did not have to get 7 PlayStation
All right.
3s.
Now I'm just reacting. I have more of my arguments. Okay?
Okay. Great.
Let's talk about a little thing called Game Pass.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Yes, because it's the.
I knew you were going to bring that up. It's so obvious.
This is the winning argument here.
It's not really the winning
Why not?
argument. I mean, it just depends on what kind of gamer you are. That's just like a neither here nor there argument.
If you're a gamer who likes to play games and get them at a low price, then yeah, you should do it.
Unless you want to play PlayStation exclusives that win TGAs.
That you can't get through your PlayStation subscription service? Oh.
But you don't need to get it because they're brand new
Why not?
games and new IP that you like.
You played Halo on Game Pass. Every big Xbox exclusive game you will get as part of your Game Pass subscription.
These games are not as high quality.
We have Sony just reeling, stumbling to roll out these new tiers of PlayStation Plus. Please, we need the money. But then, will we be able to play the new God of War? No. Will we be able to play the new Last of Us? No.
You're paying for the
Will we be able to play any first party Sony game through those things? Absolutely not. What's the point?
For that experience. That experience that you can only get with a PlayStation.
So you're happy to just blindly give them extra money. Those games are $70 versus $60 for everybody else too. You're just so glad to just throw money.
But it's worth it for that experience. Like, how much joy are you going to get out of that? Like, super high quality, award-winning PlayStation exclusive.
For the player to decide.
That's exactly why your argument.
You cannot make the decision for everybody.
That's exactly why this argument is neither here nor there. It depends on.
There's hundreds of games for every kind of player.
But they're all bad.
The portfolio that has been cultivated by Xbox. Again, the grassroots indie of tomorrow to the AAA blockbuster of this holiday season. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Are you doing some sort of voiceover for
No! I'm getting passionate.
All right, are you done with your Game Pass non-argument?
I was in a non-argument. And this is so cheap. See, this is where we don't need to worry about... Microsoft ain't going broke, okay? We got money. We got those Excel bucks.
They might go broke for buying all these studios.
We got those PowerPoint bucks. We got those Windows bucks, and we're feeding it into the games business.
Windows? Who's using Windows
We're
these days?
feeding it in. Nintendo. We're feeding it in.
Who cares about that?
We're feeding it in.
To games?
To games, yes.
Highly
doubt. We can
doubt.
subsidize the low price of Game Pass.
That's going to be
with
the
all this other
high
stuff.
price soon enough because they've bought literally every studio for like billions of dollars.
Hasn't happened yet. So you're just speculating.
Ticking time bomb.
You're speculating.
A ticking.
All right. Well, or you could buy
bomb.
the new PlayStation Plus tier where they are charging you an absorbent amount and haven't told you what's even in it. What are the games? We'll tell you later. Just give you the money.
Okay, I have one more argument that's not related to the non-argument about Game Pass, which is more innovation overall. PlayStation. These controllers, for example, they really do. I mean, it's almost like Nintendo level controller innovation, where they're really adding another layer to the player immersion with what they're doing with the controllers, how it connects to the games that you're playing, especially those DualSense. I know the battery life, whatever, blah blah, but it is really nice. You know, the Xbox, those controllers are a little shaky, and they haven't really changed much for like decades. So, yeah, not that much innovation in that area.
They pioneered the modern controller. Why do they need to change?
Did they?
All right, I'm about to turn this on you. Sony really leads. I want to come up with a phrase for this, of features that companies tease when they have a new piece of hardware coming out that nobody ends up using once the thing is actually out. It's kind of like HD Rumble, you know, because it's like, you can feel this ice cube, and then it's like 1-2 switch comes out and you never hear of it again. They have a lot of these. They had their own, HD Rumble, which was great in that Astro game, and you haven't seen much since then. I remember when they were first talking about the PS5, Mark Cerny was out there like, oh, the PS5 is going to detect where your ears are, and it's going to deliver the audio spatially, and it's going to be tailored to your eardrums. And it's like, wow, I can't believe that. I never heard anything about that. I never used that.
At least they're trying.
So what? And then they have
what do you mean, so what?
And then they have this other thing is like, oh, the games can build in guides. The game will help you through it. I've never seen that implemented once.
But
so what's the point of these features?
There is a capability
but what's the point?
Of people that want to use them or develop around that to have it.
They're wasting their time.
No, they're not.
If they didn't waste their
options, you were just talking about options.
If they didn't waste their time on these features, these games wouldn't cost $70. It would be asking me for $100 for a list of PlayStation 1 games that I don't even know what it is. Stop.
No.
I'm getting heated right now.
But don't you think that there is something to say about a company that is pushing innovation forward for the industry as a whole versus let's put out another Call of Duty game and with the same controller that we used for 10 years?
Game Pass, streaming,
Game Pass
smart delivery. It's innovation.
innovation.
It is an innovation.
It's like Netflix.
Game streaming. How much game streaming? You don't know PlayStation? Zero.
Those are not innovation. Those are just normal ways of media consumption that you can choose.
Yes, because Microsoft introduced them and they became mainstream, expected, standardized formats.
They did not introduce those. Streaming was not introduced by Microsoft.
What was it introduced by? The cloud, the great power, Microsoft Azure.
That is not what happened. Oh my God.
The power of the cloud. Do you remember? Xbox One introduced the power of the cloud. Xbox One was terrible, but so what? We're not talking about that. You're out of arguments.
Debate concluded.
No, I have one more.
Debate concluded.
No, I have one more final argument. That is irrefutable. Now that Reggie has retired.
Oh, Reggie, we're back to him?
Yes, Reggie's retired. Xbox really has the great leader in the industry in Phil Spencer. Oh. He is pushing forward the vision of where the industry should be and where it's going. He's very friendly to the players. He loves the developers. He knows the development community.
I do like Phil
He's
Spencer.
not just a suit out there.
That's true.
He's not just trying to nickel and dime.
Message for Phil Spencer. Get better.
What?
Just kidding.
But no, please come on this show, Phil Spencer. We'd love to have you. We would really love to have you.
You can argue this with us.
He's going to be so impressed with my argument that he'd be like, I need to go and personally congratulate Kit for this. Yes.
Let's.
I'm going to be using some of his lines in our next press conference.
Let's see. He's like listening to the
grassroots indie developers of tomorrow.
What have you heard of the Xbox Showcase? Would you totally die?
We're in a copyright claim there.
You're gonna C and D right now.
Yeah.
All right. Phil Spencer is a wonderful person. I will give you that. And you're right. There is the big three, and Phil Spencer is up there now as someone that's still in the industry.
That's right.
But anyways, argument.
So we solved closed. It. I won.
Yeah. Well done, both
now
of
the
us.
healing can begin.
Just to clear the air, though, we all own all three systems.
We do,
obviously, and we love all of them for specific reasons. And
I don't hold one over the others.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I actually don't believe in console wars, but this is really fun to argue. Let us know in the comments what you think, please.
Who won?
I mean, obviously me, but whatever. You don't need to even comment that because it's obvious.
What grassroots indie developers of tomorrow do you have?
What is wrong with you? Why do you keep saying that?
Consistent messaging, a steady drumbeat of consistent messaging.
Oh, the PR, the PR training is coming rushing back to you. All right, moving on to
what we're playing.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, we're not starting with Elden Ring. We're almost done with Elden Ring. So the weekly Elden Ring updates may be coming to a close soon.
Coming to a close soon, which is going to be a weird thing.
But save it, because we're starting with Nintendo Switch Sports.
Yes, we are starting with Nintendo Switch.
Did you even play this game this weekend?
I played so much.
Okay, I wasn't sure because every time I heard from you, it was like Elden Ring this, Elden Ring that.
No, I've been playing a ton of it. It's fun.
You better be. You're gonna get Chambara off of a platform.
I'm a Chambara master. You are going to bow to me and be
bow to you
in my Chambara skills.
All right.
You will be surprised at how amazing I am. Anyways, so we both jumped into Switch Sports this weekend. Yeah, I tried pretty much all of the different modes, all of the different games. The first thing I did was definitely play the big online bowling because I was really curious about that. I didn't get a chance to try that out during the test fire thing because it didn't work. And also the ninjas were going to kill me. So I tried it out now that it's legit and I could take a screenshot finally. Yay.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun. It worked great for me. It was really fun to do like sort of this like tournament kind of mode where you kind of make it to the semifinals and the finals. I will say that I was the number one.
Did you win?
I did win.
Good.
I had like 300 points and then everyone else had like.
Isn't that a perfect game?
I got a perfect game.
Did you screenshot that?
Yes, I did.
I hope you're sharing that because I would hate it if you were lying about that.
I was not.
All right, please include it in this video.
Many strikes.
If you're getting a perfect game, better be all strikes.
Many strikes.
The turkey?
I got the turkey many times.
All right.
Yes. I'm also good at bowling. The people online are a little shaky.
So I think there's a generational thing happening here where there's like the people who grew up with Wii Sports are like back in, they're like dominating. And I tweeted about this. Those are the people who are using Mii's. So if you get matched up against me, you're getting somebody who's weathered multiple Thanksgivings with grandma and has just been through it. And they're built different, as they say.
Yeah, it definitely has muscle memory that came back to me. Like,
versus if you're like an 8-year-old who's just like, what's bowling? How do I do this?
Oh, you're going to get schooled online.
That's what's happening.
That's why you're getting 37.
I mean,
I'm getting 300.
if you wait, 2 weeks, it might be a different story. But today, it's time for you to clean up.
The game that
dunk on these kids.
The game that I did not dunk on so well was soccer.
Oh.
It's so fun though.
I love soccer.
It's like Rocket League plus something
else. It's like Rocket League for people who don't have like enhanced reflexes.
That's right. I like the face planting. You're like, like you can just like face plant on this ball. So I did a 4-on-4 match.
Yeah.
And it was like, it actually worked so well. I was kind of like, if you're not playing with people that you are next to, like locally, how can you communicate? Like passing to all that stuff. But it worked so well. We totally won. It was really fun. And what an innovative way to have soccer, be part of it. And you don't have to wear the leg strap for most of them. Right. So that's good. I don't have one. Yeah. And so I was happy that you could just use the arm motion to do the kicking. Right. And that face plant thing is so funny. It's like hilarious. I love it.
I went back to, remember we did sort of our reactions to that overview trailer that they did of like, what do we think this is going to be? I think I was pretty on the nose with those where I really like this game a lot. I think it's great. I think it's in this sort of weird place though, where it's like, you've got about half of the games that feel like they're catering to like the original Wii Sports crowd, even if they're games that are carried over like tennis or bowling, where they're very simple. And then you've got the games like soccer and volleyball, which are pretty complex. Yeah. And I don't think, again, Grandma at Thanksgiving, I don't know if Grandma at Thanksgiving could handle those.
Yeah, those are pretty, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. So there's kind of a big jump. Mm-hmm. And
there's a difficulty spike.
And there's so few games in there. It's like, I would kind of like something a little bit more in the middle of those spaces. Yeah. From like really basic to really complex. Right. And we know golf is coming. I've seen people like rumoring of like, it looks like, such and such could go here. Again, I don't know. We don't know. Nintendo has not rolled out its plans for what else might be coming. Hopefully there's more. Yeah. We were talking about like tennis and badminton of like
those are a little samey.
I found them to be very samey.
Yeah. So I don't know why we needed both of those.
Yeah. I mean, tennis is still fun.
Tennis is still fun.
I've played have you played badminton in real life? It's fun. It's fun. But they're very similar. I don't know why exactly they went with that.
Those two selections. Yeah. I think that the ones that are the most sort of new and feels like fresh and different is Chambara and soccer. I think those are the two that really stand out to me. And it is like two opposite ends of the spectrum because soccer is pretty hard to pick up. You do need to like understand the controls. You're like moving your character as well as doing the motion. So that's like a lot of like pat your head, rub your stomach kind of thing. And then Chambara is like much easier for you to pick up. It's almost kind of like that original Wii Sports thing where you just need like one, Joy-Con and it's very intuitive because you're just swinging the sword or whatever. But there's like a level of strategy as well, like especially if you're playing against a really good opponent, like how to block and how to, you know, attack when they're dizzy or whatever. Like it's not just like you're just like wailing like frantically on them and you know. So I feel like that is probably closest to, it's a new game or a new sport that they put in that's closest to what it felt like original like Wii Sports had. But everything else is kind of like you know, it's fine, but it's not like wowing me or anything like that.
I thought Shambara was fairly similar to the sword play in Wii Sports. I did like how there's multiple swords that you can use.
Yeah.
And at first I thought, I was like, oh, well, if I choose like the dual blades, I'm going to be matched up against somebody else who's using it. But it's cool how they can mix and match. That brings in some new strategic elements too.
And they like do a good job of balancing the 3 swords so that each of them, even though like the dual blades, you have 2 swords. Like they're not as powerful as like the one sword. You know, they do a good job with
Which one did you use for that?
I use the twin swords.
I'm not going to tell you what I use because we're competing in it later.
Oh my god!
I just got a strategic edge on you.
Okay.
Look at that.
Still gonna win. Doesn't matter.
Wow.
But yeah, we'll probably keep. I mean, it's fun to play this like once in a while.
Yeah.
It's like a fun little.
So you had a smooth online experience?
Very smooth. Did you have a smooth online experience?
I had kind of the full range. I had some stuff that worked fine. When I did the big bowling, it was very stuttery for some reason.
Oh.
And a lot of those times in these games, it's like, you know, if one person has a bad connection, it can drag it down for everybody. So I don't know, I don't know what kind of code they're using for this. Maybe that's what it was. And then I had just a disconnect in the middle of a soccer match, right after I scored a goal too.
No.
I was like, yeah, and then got dumped out.
I haven't had any disconnects.
That was a bummer.
Yeah.
But
it worked,
yeah, I mean, I kind of had like, I don't know, I knew this game was coming. I wasn't really like counting down the days because we've been so head down on Elden Ring. It was like, all right, I'll play this when it comes out.
But also, this is one of those games where you just have in your library and you pull out every once in a while, and it's a fun thing to have when people come over or like just to like get up and move around a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I was like looking at my watch. I was definitely like moving around enough where it was like registering some sort of activity, which is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of the new I
don't like it.
Spacco
Square.
Spacco?
So generic.
You don't like it?
No.
I kind of liked it actually.
I don't like it.
I didn't like it initially in the videos, but it's like, all right, it's kind of.
I don't understand what it's supposed to be. Like
I don't
sometimes
either.
like you're playing soccer and there's like a library in the background. I'm like, I don't understand this.
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be like a college campus or like what is this? Like there's no sort of like identifying feature. Like nothing is going to be as good as Woohoo Island, let's be real. But yeah, I just the whole like setting, including the characters, just feels super generic to me. Kind of like lazy a little bit. But the sports themselves are super fun, and so it's like you kind of overlook that. And I had a very like bad reaction to putting the Mii on the body because it reminded me of those scary Mii heads that we made for the real people. And like the proportions are just odd. Like
you can't change, with the Mii, you can change your height.
I was gonna change the height so the body was really small and the head was huge, which is how I like it because it's cute and cartoony. But it won't let you. It's like in a human body. Yeah,
they must count on the proportions all being the same for like the games to work right.
Oh, maybe.
Or like if you're doing sword play, you're like this tiny little person.
I guess you're like.
That would be unfair.
Very well, yeah, you can hit them.
But I
didn't like it though, so I have to use a generic Mii.
It's a little strange on the body, but I think the generic characters look a little strange too. So I kept with the Mii.
Yeah, I can't stand it. I can't stand the Mii head on it. It's too scary.
Unfortunately, a lot of the cosmetic stuff you unlock doesn't work with the Mii, so it's like I'm on my 8th fake beard that I can't use anyway.
Oh.
Mii can grow a beard, all right?
Yeah. The other thing about the cool unlockables is that you can only get it during the online.
Yeah.
So if you are not playing online, then like you never get to customize your stuff.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Like why? I don't understand that.
I don't know.
Like why not make that something that you could get? Like that's like a good selling point to customize your character. If you're gonna have this like ugly generic character, like might as well like.
Yeah. There wasn't really anything in there that I was like dying to get though.
Me neither.
I was like,
Like this like sparkle hat.
I guess I'll I guess I'll get it if I get it, but I'm not like dying. I'm like, oh, I really want to switch out to this.
It's kind of like a lot. You have to like really build up your little points, like 100 points for one spin. Because it's
random. I thought like, oh, I can pick the one I want.
Yeah,
but
no, it's random.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like, I don't understand why this has to be this way.
Yeah.
Because like, you probably want to encourage people to customize and like play a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. I don't understand that.
So there were two kind of groupings that were available,
like one's like
and they had a timer. So I'm sure that there's going to be some new collection that gets introduced.
Pokemon Unite when they have like the little packs or whatever for like the outfits.
Yeah.
I think that's fine and all, but it's like, just make it accessible. Like why have it be complicated? You know?
Right.
It doesn't seem to serve you either way.
So do you think this is going to rekindle some like phenomenon of like, the retirement homes are buying Switches by the boatload now?
I don't think so. I think that was just a lightning in a bottle, as they say, kind of perfect time, perfect place. Almost like Animal Crossing during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things that you have to have such like a crazy amount of things to kind of line up for it to happen. I think this is a great game. I think people are going to play it. People seem to be enjoying it. Mm-hmm. But it's just going to be like another check in the library of Switch games. I don't think it's going to be a standout by any means. Yeah.
It's been so long. I mean, you know, Wii Sports was what, 2009?
Yeah.
That's 13 years.
That's a long
since you've had a game.
Yeah.
And it would have been nice to have just a bit more happening with that franchise between now and then to keep it on people's minds. And I think it's now this kind of like retro relic almost.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you have, like you were saying, you have these two kinds of pods of people, right?
Yeah.
One grouping nostalgic for Wii Sports and our first like crazy experience with that, and playing this game as a way to kind of rekindle that, which is I think what you and I are doing. And then you have like maybe a whole different generation of people that are just gonna check it out, and if it doesn't grab their attention, they're not gonna have any sort of emotional investment. Right. They're just gonna be like, cool, that was fun, bye. You know, like I'm gonna go back to whatever game I'm playing. Yeah.
I did go back, you know, because I was getting everything ready for this video, and like I did, you know, poke around in original Wii Sports a little bit, and it's like, you know, tennis and Switch Sports is actually not that different from tennis and Wii Sports.
It's exactly the same.
It's like, wow, you can really get a reminder of like why this was such a big deal.
Yeah.
Just like, this is really cool that you can do this in 2006.
Yeah, that motion control, that idea of just holding something in your hand and not having to press any buttons to play a game was like super crazy innovative back then. Like obviously now it feels not. But 13 years ago, like we couldn't have imagined something like that.
Yeah,
right?
And I mean, now we know that the original Wii Remote is pretty limited in what it can do, but they really masked it in such smart ways of thinking like, wow, this is perfectly reflecting what I'm doing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It was so like well done, and again, it's one of those, I think, those really special moments in time where it kind of captured just the right like thing, you know, all at once. So I think, I don't think it's going to be easy to replicate that again.
So are you going to keep playing this? It sounds like maybe you're kind of off it.
I might keep playing just like off and on, but it's not like I'm going to be playing it every single day. Like every day I'm not going to be going back to playing Switch Sports or something. Yeah.
I definitely want to keep going with volleyball and soccer. I think those have some pretty good staying power. Especially with, you know, the online component, making it feel a little bit different every time.
Yeah, I think those are fun games to just like play for like 10 minutes or something like that. If you wanted to like stand up for a second or like take a little break from, or just like play something really fast.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's fine. Yeah. I wouldn't see myself like, you know, playing it for like hours on end kind of thing, you know?
Have you been wearing your wrist straps? Did you break your TV? You don't even have a TV.
I don't even have a TV.
Did you throw a Joy-Con through the wall?
No. It was like such an amazing moment to not wear a wrist strap. So I was like, I'm a rebel now. They don't get to tell me what to do, Nintendo. Ha ha!
Then you break a window.
And then I knock my dog in the head or something. I do like, I had to like move my coffee table, or I have to move like stuff off my coffee table.
Oh, really?
I'm really afraid I'm like gonna knock over a vase of flowers or like.
Do you stand up?
I definitely stand up.
I do too. Yeah.
Yeah, you stand up.
Yeah.
Like, move around.
Right.
You know, like if you're gonna do it, you know, don't Don't be like sitting there like the testers used to do with
the testers are doing it all day. They have a reason.
They're doing it all day. Okay, yeah, I know I get it. You can lose a lot of weight. They can they could be like really exercising for reals.
The just nonstop wrist strap screens were such a just like, oh, I missed this.
Oh my god! And also it's like, make sure you have enough room around you.
Have you taken a break? You might be tired.
I played for an hour, and it was like, you've been playing for an hour. You need to take a break. I'm like, do you think I'm some sort of like? It's like, here comes illegal.
Please check with your doctor. You may need Tommy John surgery.
Tennis elbow is in your future. And then like when the wrist strap thing's like, are you wearing wrist strap? I'm like, yeah, I am.
Yeah. And then like right after that, are you still wearing it?
Oh,
you got it on? Is it tight?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Just checking.
I wasn't. You texted me. You're like, bring your extra Joy-Con. I'm like, okay. I was like, are we going to wear wrist straps? I was like, I'm 100% not. And you're like, nope. I felt good about it. It's like, we're free of wrist straps, guys. But anyways, if you want to wear a wrist strap, you should.
Yes.
You should. Don't throw your remote against the TV. Like, that would be bad.
It doesn't feel as good as your hand as the Wii remote, though.
No, it's too small.
It's small.
And I have baby hands, and it's small for me.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't have a good
the Wii
grasp
remote, you can really just
on it. And you need to put it in like some sort of, like, they should make it so like it feels like the bottom of a tennis racket.
No, I can't believe you just said that. Because now we are back in the Wii days, and you're going to like Fry's Electronics to buy some junky plastic shell that's like a golf club. It's like, oh, this is now I'm really really immersed.
Why?
Well, guess what? Those probably still work. Let's get on some like junk. Let's buy some junk from the Wii days, and you can jam a Joy-Con in there.
Bat, or you can do tennis. Okay.
I cannot believe you said that.
You can't do it for soccer or volleyball because that doesn't have anything.
Yeah,
doesn't have anything. Anyways, why not?
Did you have those when you played Wii Sports?
I don't think so. Because the Wii remote felt better in my hand because it was bigger.
I see.
And then we got Wii Motion Plus, and it was like massive.
Yeah.
It was like a giant stick. I was like, okay, this is crazy.
Right.
Okay.
Elden Ring?
Oh my gosh, Elden Ring.
Did you beat it?
No.
Oh, I was waiting for the text from you last night. I'm like, I did it.
I didn't do it last night. I tried really hard.
Tried?
I tried so long.
Right, so we're both on the last boss.
You're on the last boss too?
Yeah, I told you that.
Oh, I thought you were.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got past the fire giant.
Okay, previously on Elden Ring.
Previously on Krista's Despair.
Yeah, previously on my Despair with Elden Ring. Last week I had said that I finally beaten the fire giant.
Yeah.
Right? Was that last week?
I can't remember actually.
Okay. Anyways,
but anyway, you beat it.
I beat the fire giant. It was a journey.
Yeah.
It was like a week and a half. It was solidly a week and a half. I did not try every day for a week and a half, but I decided to do all these things to help myself. Yeah, I up-leveled myself more, got the spells that I needed, got the armor that I needed, got the things to mix in the physics.
Oh yeah.
Got the talismans. Leveled up my mimic, leveled up my like summons or whatever, and went back in. And finally did beat it.
Yeah.
I did fight the camera a lot, and it was still very frustrating at times. That has got to be the worst boss fight of the entire game because now I'm on the final boss. I'm like, these are all completely fine except
feels doable.
It's just it was like it doesn't feel all of these boss fights. Yeah, sure you die and like you need to learn their moves, but it doesn't feel impossible. That one just felt impossible. I'm like, I don't even know where I am or where he is, and he's just
and then they got stepped on,
fire at me, and then he smushed me.
Yeah.
In like 2 seconds. Right. Okay, like this is just bad. It's bad. Okay, so anyways, we're past that. The next area was like that floating city of rubble.
It's cool.
Very cool. Looked amazing, and it was like you were saying, we're like. Everything after the fire drain just feels so good. It did.
Especially for you since you leveled up so much and I bet you just blew through that.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it quite a bit. Like it was really fun to just like take a break from that. I think, and of course the boss at the end of that area. Is there 2 bosses in there? I think
it's like a 2-phase thing.
That's right. There's 2 bosses in there. The first one...
Oh, the Godskin duo,
the Godskin duo, I wrecked them.
Yeah, they're easy.
It was like 20 seconds of me just blasting them with my spells.
You get a good AI helper there, too.
I got the AI helper that basically was full health
distracting
the entire time.
Them.
And I literally stood in the corner and just like blasted them. It was awesome. So they were easy to be rid of. And then I went up to, what is the beast thing? clergyman, beast
The
clergyman.
Pokemon looking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all kind of look like Pokemon.
Looks like Samurott.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it looks like.
He kind of does look like Samurott. You're right.
Like if Samurott was an Elden Ring.
It was an evil, horrible thing.
Yeah.
It would be that. That one, definitely, there was like that 2-phase thing.
Yeah. It's fast in the second phase.
It's fast in the second phase. The first phase, I was able to get him down
That
pretty
one's not
easy,
too bad. Yeah.
and he's a little slower. The second phase, it was just learning, like, he had these jump attacks where he would basically, like, do that blood damage to you, and your health would just start ticking away, which was a little, like, nerve-wracking. Just have to, like, keep taking potions. But that arena was really great because they had those pillars that you could kind of hide behind. And once I kind of learned his moves, I was able to dodge him, like, pretty okay. Yeah. And I whittled him down pretty easily. A couple tries. Nothing crazy. Like maybe like 5 or 6 tries. Yeah. Then we moved on to the... by the way, these are all spoilers, so if you didn't play this is like late in the
10 minutes into your summary. The game's been out for several months.
I know. A lot of people told me they beat it too. And in the comments, people were offering to help me, which was very nice. I might actually need your help.
Help me, actually.
Help me. That would be so cool if somebody from our community can come help me. Anyways, so now we are back in the Lindell capital, but it's action.
Right.
Yeah, very cool. It's like buried in like this like kind of snow ash, whatever. So basically at this point it's just like boss after boss. Boss gamut.
Right.
Gauntlet. The first guy, the guy that's like very chatty, that just has like that copies your moves, I guess. He was still chatting away and I had already like incinerated him. So I walked in the door and I blasted him. And he was just like blah 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 and then he died. Yeah. I was like, oh, and he's like still talking. That was pretty funny. And moved on to the next one, which is the guy with the lion.
Yeah.
The first
you fight him for the second time. Godfrey. Yeah. But now he has the second form where he becomes a pro wrestler.
I was like, he's like a Pokemon. He's like that Incineroar. He looks like Incineroar. Also, don't do that to the lion. That's not nice. Gosh. I closed my eyes because I didn't want to watch what he did to that poor lion.
Okay.
But, he didn't even touch me. Like, I basically was like, I had used like
you're very powerful
2 potions. And
you're definitely more powerful than me.
I'm level like 125 and I have like...
See, I'm like 105.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I think, no, maybe I'm a little bit lower than that, but I'm like well past 115.
Yeah. See, for him, I got him into the second phase and I died a couple times. I was like, I'm not really in the mood for a giant boss slog again. Okay. And I read up and they're like, you can get this really good AI summon if you do this side quest. Okay. So I got sidetracked with the side quest. I see. Which was a little annoying. It's like down in the catacombs underneath the city. Yeah. And it was like, how would you know to take this path? But I did it. And then I got
lost in there.
Yeah. Like, and the summon was great though, so I beat him the first time I had that summon.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Piece of
cake. He gets pretty fast when he...
See, the difference between us now is like you have all this really strong range stuff.
Yeah.
I have 0 range, so I got to get up and get dirty.
Yeah, and if you don't have anyone to pull aggro off of you, like that's gonna be tough for you. Yeah. So I can see that because that guy has some devastating like ground pound and throws and grabs you and stuff. I was like far away from him. Like my mimic tier basically tanked it for me.
Yeah, that's perfect then.
And then I just stood in the back
Lasered
him with my meme beam, as they call it. You guys know, it's the as your comment or comment as your or whatever. Like I have that spell, so I just stand back there and drink that potion that has like 0 FP use for 10 seconds and I just blast him. I do like 20,000 damage in like 10 seconds. It's crazy. But only if that person stays perfectly still.
Maybe you can help me on this final boss. Maybe we can help each other.
Maybe we can help each other again.
Yeah, probably not. We've tried so we've yet to have a successful boss attempt together.
But how cool would it be if we did it on the final boss together?
Oh boy. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
You get like really frustrated with me. I don't know why.
What do you mean?
I feel like we could do this one though.
All right. Well, I'm open to trying it.
So now we're at the final boss, which is Radigan and Elden Beast.
It's like a double boss is the thing. It's a little tough.
I have to say the Elden Beast fight is one of the most beautiful, relaxing boss fights I've ever done in my life. Like he is trying to kill me, but it's so pretty.
It looks cool, yeah.
Wow, look at the cosmos. The music is so like, it's like very like operatic and
it is very calming
and you're
music.
in this like beautiful arena with these like ethereal trees, and you're kind of in like this like little, like an inch of water. And it also kind of looks like a legendary Pokemon. It's like floating
totally
around,
does.
right? And it's like glow. You can see like the galaxy inside of him. And like, it just, everything just feels like a dance. You know, you're like dodging it, but it like feels like this beautiful dance with this. I'm like, do I really want to kill you? Can I like tame you? Is that like an option? I wish that was, because I feel bad killing it. Like, it's like God slain, like a very like intense, you know?
Well, you haven't done it yet.
I've gotten him down to about a quarter of his health though, so I'm really, really close. Really close. I mess up some of the. I know exactly what his moves are at this point, but I just sometimes can't execute them.
See, I'm still learning what the moves are.
Though that was a hard thing for me to do too.
Yeah, like, which I don't love, especially since you have to do that phase 1 again to get to him.
So phase 1, I can one shot him, which is like really helpful. Because I make sure that I preserve most of my health potions.
Yeah, that sounds pretty helpful.
So at least for me,
be hacking at this guy for like 10 minutes.
So I don't have to do that. So I summon actually a different summon for this, which is the skeleton army with the big shield.
Oh yeah.
And so they like do a Greek phalanx, basically around him, and they just keep him on one spot, like which is what I need.
And they can stay alive long enough.
They're very beefy. They're leveled up to plus 10 at this point.
Okay.
So, or maybe plus 9.
Yeah.
So they're very beefy against him. So they'll like basically keep him in one spot. I run back to like the corner, and then I blast him, and then it drains all of his health in probably like 10 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
And so the skeletons are mainly alive if I do it well.
Yeah.
The skeletons are alive. I have only used one potion at that point. So I take another potion, I switch my spells around, and then I fight the Elden Beast. The skeletons die pretty fast. He'll like nuclear bomb them pretty much immediately with his like attack, and they'll die, and then it's just me like running around this arena doing the range. Yeah. But it's all about just like not messing up.
Right.
Like you only have so many chances where you are allowed to mess up, and
I think I just need to watch some YouTube videos and just see what the moves are.
Right.
Because it's like, oh, I'm here, and I'm like wailing away, but I don't know what the move's coming, and then it's like, oh, rats.
It's different because when you're so close to him, because you have to get under him to hit him with your sword. Like I think it's harder for you to see what's next. Yeah. Because he has a lot of tells. Like he'll glow, and you know, like, oh shoot, he's gonna do the star fall thing. I need to run to the side. Yeah. Or like he's gonna lift his head up and you can't see that, and he's gonna spit the fire.
Well, the deck's really stacked against me, it seems. What am I gonna do?
What I'm saying is you gotta watch these videos.
I got a little hung up. I think this was maybe a bad thing to do on like finding online summon to help me. And I was looking online, I found like a password you could put in that helps you, like I guess a lot of people are using this. So I was actually much more regularly than if you didn't have one.
I see.
Getting people to summon. And it was still, I mean, they would expire really fast. There's clearly a lot of people waiting around there using this to get helpers. So like if you were not like immediately, once you see that yellow symbol, it was like unavailable.
I think we should try together. I honestly think we should.
I found some of them, they're of varying quality. Like some of them were helpful, some of them were not that helpful. Right. There was one guy I was like, oh, this guy is super strong. This is the one. But then I died like in a really lame way. And I was like, oh no, this was like a good chance.
This was your good chance. Yeah. I haven't used any summons because I like my summons. I think I'm really good at phase 1, and I'm happy that I can do that in like 10 seconds basically, and just focus on the actual fight, which is with the Elden Beast. But it's just like, yeah, it's like sometimes I like kick myself. So I'm like, I know how to dodge this. Like, why did I mess up? Like, especially when he like throws the rune arcs at you. I'm like, obviously I need to do this roll, but I just like have like fat fingers for a second, and I just mess up, and then I die. You know, like you can't get hit more than twice. Yeah. So I don't have as much health as you.
Gosh, you better beat this guy before that next patch comes out. He might get nerfed, and then what?
I might get nerfed.
You might get nerfed.
I worked so hard.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my god, I worked
got this build so perfect.
My like staff is fully. I got a trophy for a fully leveled up weapon.
I like how you started like basically the same build I was,
I know.
and you completely changed
that
it.
about this game. That is such a cool thing.
Why didn't you go with the magic in the first place? It's silly.
I don't know why. I admit that was a big mistake. But I'm just so happy that this game lets you have that flexibility. How cool.
Well, by next week, if we've both not finished this game, something's gone terribly wrong.
Yeah, then we definitely need
and
your
we're going to
help.
be incredibly mad and upset and broken.
You guys have to help us. You have to be our summons then, if that's the case. Come help us. Oh my gosh. All right, but we're so close. Huh?
We're very close.
Very exciting, yes. Okay.
On to the news.
News. Play the jingle.
We're going to start a lot of news this week. We're starting with the story that hit right after we recorded last week, and we included our reaction in the Q&A, so the bonus Q&A.
Yeah.
So if you heard that, this might be a teeny bit of a repeat. There's a little bit of new here, though. So, but the Mario movie's been delayed.
Right.
As
a very weird tweet
as
from
the legend
Nintendo.
says, this is Miyamoto. After consulting with Chris-san, my partner at Illumination, on the Super Mario Bros. Film, we decided to move the global release to spring 2023, April 28th in Japan and April 7th in North America. My deepest apologies, but I promise it will be well worth the wait.
Yes, as they say.
So I'm rather concerned about this.
You have had a gamut of emotional distress
I just
over the last week.
don't know why they did it.
Yeah.
And
suspicious.
I did
for
see.
Sure.
I did see that Nintendo's annual earnings investor meeting is coming up next week, I think.
Okay.
So maybe we'll get a little bit more
they
of a reasoning
drop
there.
some
Mr. Miyamoto, he often is in those. Mr. Miyamoto,
meetings, yeah.
so he may just be asked point blank by a shareholder.
Like, what's going on?
As who's
tapping
his foot, and if you want to break the sake, you need to answer the questions.
It's very important.
You know, I saw the Avatar movie's coming out around there, but it's like, gosh, that Christmas time slot is like the primo, like
That's
outside
right.
of the summertime.
And like, who cares about the Avatar movie? This would be like the hit family film of that season. Like anybody would absolutely go see it.
Yeah, so I just don't understand.
Just feels very odd. I had a theory, and again, we don't know anything. And, you know, this is based on personal experience working with the IP art team and just the team in Japan that sort of controls all of the IP. They're a very strict team, you know? Even on, like, really insignificant marketing materials that we used to make or things that we post on our social channels that is not as a big deal as, like, making a feature film. Like, they would tell us ridiculous things, like, you need to move that one down 1 pixel, or you need to fix this, doesn't look right, or something like that. Like, just the most, like, detailed things on anything that has an image of any of Nintendo's IP on it. So I just, in my brain, I'm like, times 1 billion for this movie. And, like, how much control are they, you know, inserting into Illumination Studios, and like, are they like frame by frame, like counting these pixels and making sure that everything is absolutely perfect, because that is something that they would do. And I wonder if that is why.
Now I'm wondering, I don't know how much experience Illumination has working like with a licensed property.
That's right.
I could be completely, I don't know their work that well, honestly. Obviously they have Minions, which are, you know, their own creation.
Yeah.
You know, that is kind of a different beast of getting everything to a T to the license holder's liking.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm sure Nintendo's not giving them any slack on that.
Not at all.
Yeah, I just don't know, and that's what's driving my concern. The new thing that happened, there were some rumored leaks that came out, which we will not be talking about.
Yeah, there was like
if
a
anybody,
script leak.
we don't
You
know
can
if this
look
is
it up.
real, but there are people who said they went to like test screenings.
Yeah, they like basically describe the whole movie. So
Yeah,
you
which
look that up. It's
I absolutely read that
I did
because
too.
I was very curious. If that's what the movie is, then I was like, okay,
It didn't seem terrible.
It seemed. I would be.
Well, we're not talking about it, but there is one little tidbit in there that I was curious about.
But it was not one of those like bizarro, like,
Yeah.
you know, again, the Detective Pikachu gimmick sort of thing.
The musical.
We're not talking about it.
Why?
Stop, please. Because the movie's not even out. We don't know. But please, we just need to see something from this movie. When might we see something from this movie? People are like, oh, you might see it in the next direct. Why do you have this look on your face? Explain yourself.
I don't know. I just feel like this is weird. All of it feels weird to me.
It can't be in the next direct. Like this is if this
it's not going to be in the next direct.
Well, you wouldn't have thought that the casting would have been in a direct, and it was.
I mean,
this is going to be a big mainstream movie. You got to get it out there.
Yeah,
you need like your Super Bowl equivalent for whatever time frame. Which I don't know what that. I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. All of it feels weird. The whole script leak feels weird. This tweet was very strange. The delay is weird. All of it does not feel right. So it definitely is very concerning. Moving on.
This was the big breaking news this morning.
You put it on.
Which you didn't even know about until I walked through this door and told you. You're like, huh?
I was very immersed in
oblivious
setting up for this video.
Square Enix sells Tomb Raider Studios for $300 million.
Yeah.
So they sold
inexpensively
Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix Montreal to the Embracer Group, which I've heard a lot about in the last year or so. I'll be honest, I have no clue where they came from.
Yeah.
But they just seem to be buying everything.
Yeah.
So good for them. But they get more than 900 developers across this acquisition. They get the IP for Tomb Raider, Thief, Deus Ex, other stuff. And then this, Square Enix said the deal would help to accelerate the company's growth and enables the launch of new businesses by moving forward with investments in fields including blockchain, AI, and the cloud.
Where's the red flag emoji?
Okay.
This is where like just the whole screen is just the red flag emoji because no.
Yeah.
That seems very bad.
For years, the relationship between Square Enix in Japan and the Western end of Square Enix, which is these companies, seemed a little weird because they would always blame these games for underperforming. When they would do their financials, it was like, the Tomb Raider game that sold 5 million copies deeply underperformed our expectations. It's like, these games always felt like a scapegoat. It's like, you would never see them do that with a Final Fantasy, obviously.
Right.
Which I'm sure cost at least as much to make, if not more. And took, those games take forever to make.
Yeah.
So part of me is like, maybe this relationship was not for the best in the first place. I did see another report. This what we have here is from Axios. I saw another report from, I think, GamesBeat. They were talking about the profitability of these games. Like Tomb Raider or the Guardians of the Galaxy game were really like barely profitable at all. So it's like, again, maybe this relationship was just not working out.
Yeah.
But speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, they do have that Marvel deal, which I wonder what happens to that now, because Crystal Dynamics did the Avengers.
Yeah.
And then Eidos did Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's right.
So, I mean, that's a question for a lawyer. What happens to that deal when they get acquired? Does that continue? Does the Embracer Group control the Avengers now?
I guess so.
That sounds like the Avengers would be fighting the Embracer Group in a comic book.
Swedish holding company.
What does them being Swedish have to do with it? How dare you?
Swedish holding
There's
company.
no such thing.
Monolithic, emotionless Swedish holding company.
I'm sure they're very tall and handsome people working
that
there.
have frozen hearts and no emotion. Basically dead inside. Okay. Xbox E3 event announced.
E3 is in quotes because it's actually not E3. So they announced this. It's June 12th, 10 a.m. Pacific, Xbox and Bethesda. Time. I wonder now, like when the Activision stuff goes through, do they have to say Xbox and Bethesda and Activision? Can they just say Xbox? I think we know now, like, who is part of it.
Bethesda is a big name, though. They want you to...
Well, wait until Activision gets in there.
They want you to know.
Wait. It's going to be a mouthful. So, it did feel very early. I mean, this is, I guess around when an E3 event would have been announced. We were talking about how now, since there is no E3, going back to the ESA, the Entertainment Software Association.
That's right. No one's controlling these dates.
Yeah, one thing they used to do was help all the companies coordinate and have time slots.
Yeah, Nintendo was always Tuesday, 9 a.m.
Right, which was a real drag when you had to wake up at like 6 a.m. to go to a physical press conference and be have bells on.
It was always Microsoft was first.
Yeah, and then Sony would be like that evening or afternoon.
And then Nintendo would
be the
last.
following morning.
Yeah.
So now, I guess it's kind of the Wild West.
Yes. So whoever can be first to announce the claim a date gets the date. So maybe that's why.
So it makes sense for them to take this and make sure there's not any conflict.
Put a flag in the ground.
Exactly. And it's a very confident move of like, hey, we're ready. We got the
we got stuff to show you. That's great.
I mean, with E3 being canceled so late, I'm sure a lot of these companies had been planning as if it was happening.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to be surprised when this week becomes basically E3 week.
And also, it's like everyone does these online showcases now. That's kind of the norm. So even if there was, say, an E3, like you would have had this online presence anyways. So that would have been in their plans.
Yeah. So, we'll see what other dominoes might start to fall now that, one comes out. Is somebody going to panic? You're like, oh, we need this time slot. We need it. And then everybody just starts announcing, I'm sure Nintendo will not announce early.
No, they won't.
It'll be, the usual
48 hours.
48 to 24 hours in advance.
This one we might get a 48 hour because it's probably a bigger one.
Yeah. But we'll be watching.
Yeah, we'll be watching for sure. We'll do some reactions.
This next one was a little bizarre.
More bizarre Square Enix.
Another Square Enix story. Yuji Naka, who is, I guess he's the creator of Sonic the Hedgehog, my guy, says Square Enix does not value games.
If they're going for an AI blockchain in the cloud,
it's a bold
maybe
statement.
He's got some there.
But he was kind of leading this trash heap Balan Wonderworld, which there were a lot of people at Nintendo that we worked with who were really excited about this game. Yeah.
I don't really understand it. So
I don't know why they were.
I don't want to knock it because I never played it.
Even when this news came out, like I was getting messages from them like, oh, did you see this? Update on Balan Wonderworld. It's like, why are you still on this, bro? But anyhow, I guess, he was removed from that project. It sounds like there was a lawsuit between him and Square Enix.
It doesn't seem good at all.
They were talking about how he did not feel like they, basically did everything they could to make that game as good as it could be. They kind of put out, he was saying the game's basically unfinished. And he was kind of barred from social media from talking about it for a long time. And now that I guess they got that resolved, he's out there just airing it out.
Yeah. I mean, do it. Everyone has the right to share their experience.
Yeah. I mean, there are some stories about him out there that are a bit unflattering too, about him being pretty tough to work with. So I don't know. Again, this might have just been one of those bad chemistry fits from day one.
Yeah.
That game, from what I've seen of that game, it seems like it needs a lot of work to get that into ship shape. But
it's tough.
Yuji Naka's out there. He's talking.
He's talking. He has experiences to share, and those are his own, and he's got the right to do that. So there you go.
When's he going to start complaining about why Sonic the Hedgehog turned out the way it did? That's what I want to hear him talk about.
He's going to personally explain to you why.
Please.
And maybe then you'll feel better about it too.
Great.
Okay.
Last story here. Let's see. We have the annual earnings coming up. This is an important story.
It's an important story. About
Switch
earnings.
sales expected to decrease 10% due to supply chain constraints.
Yeah, that's been happening with Nintendo for a while.
There's
a lot of supply.
Yeah.
There's always discussion about supply chain constraints.
Right. So this was a story that was in the Nikkei, which often has breaking stories on the business side of Nintendo. So it says the semiconductor shortage as well as disruptions to logistics networks are to blame for the expected 10% decrease from last year's Nintendo Switch sales. So I guess that would be this year's sales that they are going to be announcing.
Right. Fiscal 23. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this has been kind of the juggling act for, any electronics.
Yeah, everybody's
I guess even more than you hear about cars being impacted by this. It's frustrating because,
sounds like people want to buy
it. The demand is so high,
the demand is
but
there.
You just can't make enough. And when you do, it's hard to get them onto shelves and you can't replenish as fast as you want. I still don't think you can buy a PS5 if you wanted one.
Not easily. How is Switch though? Are people able to? I haven't been paying super close attention. I don't see as many crazy complaints, though.
Yeah, I mean, let us know in the comments, folks, if you've been looking for a Switch or having trouble finding one. But, I mean, it's a little bit different because it was out for a couple years before this happened. So, yeah, I'll be curious to see, you know, how the foot-tapping investors take this, because on one hand, it's out of their control. On the other hand, it's like, well, you need to maximize what you got so they could be mad.
I do wonder, though, like, is the demand still that high that this is actually, it would contribute to lower sales or not? Like, it's hard to tell at this point.
You don't think so?
I don't know. I just don't know.
I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, even
don't.
constrained, like you see in, you know, NPDs, it's like still, you know, frequently the top selling
seller.
hardware, and the games seem to be selling really well. So yeah, I have no reason.
And there's
to
so
doubt
many
that.
different kinds of ways you can get the original Switch. I think still.
Yeah.
You can get OLED Switch.
Mm-hmm.
You can get Switch Lite. So I'm like, if you really wanted one, could you get it? Like, either if you weren't picky, like which ones? I don't know. All right.
Yeah,
We'll see.
but it's like, when is this? Like, how long is this going to be an issue?
Forever?
It's been a long time.
Well, it's because of the pandemic, right?
I know,
And
but
still
I
not-
mean,
you still have these. You haven't solved it, so it's
Yeah.
going to be an issue.
I mean, you look at these frustrations, and then like, how frustrated must Sony be? Where it's like, are we ever going to be like? Obviously, the demand for that's way through the roof.
But that one is
it's
like,
like, are
and
we-
it's a newer console.
Are we
as
just
well.
gonna
just take an L all the time?
miss this peak in demand because we literally cannot make and get them out there?
I can't imagine the pressure on that side.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Again, that's a YP,
Yes.
which stands for your problem. If you didn't know. On to questions from our
Yeah.
wonderful Patreon community.
Yes.
First question is from Chase Yama, who wants to know, hey, Kit and Krysta, I think back in 2012, when I was 13 years old,
Oh, boy.
I stayed up all night to watch the Wii U preview presentation. I would pinpoint that as the moment I realized that I was invested in gaming way more than I would have thought. I was wondering if there was a moment in your guys' lives when you had a realization that gaming might be more than just a hobby. Great question.
Yeah, really good question. I think actually we were talking a lot about Wii Sports. I think that was a moment for me where I realized, especially
Putting your life on the line to get a Wii? Was that it? Risking it all?
risking it all in the frigid winters of California.
Where it was 65
when
degrees?
It was lower. It was actually 48.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, exactly. No, but I definitely have loved and played Nintendo games and grew up with Nintendo pretty much my whole life, played all the way through college. And when I saw what Nintendo was doing with Wii, with Wii, when I finally played Wii Sports, I was like, oh wow, like this company is really pushing the limits beyond like traditional video games. And like I really saw like a future, of like cool new things that this company could be doing. And it just really made me want to work there. And a year later I was there, But it really like reignited my admiration for Nintendo and like, yeah, again, made me just realize like, okay, this is a company that's different than the rest.
Yeah.
Not just in gaming, but just overall,
Yeah.
and it's something that I want to be a part of.
Yeah, for me, I think I had an interesting experience my junior year of college, which was a year I spent abroad in Hong Kong doing sort of a study overseas program, which was a great time. But obviously, you can't be bringing all of your consoles to Hong Kong. So I didn't go with any gaming stuff. And I remember my first semester, it was like, I'm kind of gaming free for the first time, for as long as I could remember, and it was fine. And it was kind of like an interesting moment. I was like, oh, maybe I don't need games, or I don't want games, or I'm not interested in games the way I was. And then I remember my second semester, I was able to get a Game Boy Advance. I think it was when I had gone home around Christmas, and I got the system and some games, and I came back with it. And I've like had this feeling of like, oh my gosh, I've been missing out on this.
Okay.
And it was that moment of like, oh, I was a fool to
Think that
ever think that I could.
without.
Yeah, and I remember like ever after that point, I was like really like even more so into games, and I think it was that time without it that made me, miss it and have that realization. So I think that was a moment for me.
All right.
On to Captain Alex. With the Switch Sports launch happening this weekend, it has me thinking about other Wii hits making a comeback on the Switch. What are the chances we see Wii Fit make a triumphant return with Switch Fit? Or should we expect Ring Fit to be the future of Nintendo fitness?
Yeah, that's a really good question because there was a lot of these sort of, I think Wii era Nintendo was the time for all of those like very out of the box innovations. I mean, there were some things that stuck, like Wii Fit, and some things that didn't, like Wii Speak. We shan't be talking about that ever again because it was dumb. But, I don't see that quite, that sort of want or desire from Nintendo to create like additional kinds of accessories like they did with the Wii Balance Board. I do feel like Ring Fit is kind of like the spiritual successor if we're thinking about like a fitness game on Switch. But yeah, with like all the supply chain stuff that we were just talking about, it must be so hard to manufacture additional accessories like a balance board or anything beyond something like super simple. So I can see that playing into it as well.
Yeah. I mean, again, it goes back to what we're saying about Wii Sports. Like, that was such a different era. Like, that was pre-iPhone. 2006, when the Wii came out. And, maybe people may not remember, there was a Wii Fit version for Wii U. Right. Which did terribly.
Right.
And
Wii Fit Plus.
I remember, I think I was working on that. I remember the feeling of like, oh, this ship has sailed.
This ship has sailed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that was like not that long after the original one. And I remember like, Nintendo would tout like, there's more balance boards out there than there are PS3s and Xbox 360s combined. It's a crazy number.
It's like that whole era also gave us like Guitar Hero, like the era of plastic accessories. I think it's over.
I think it's hard to think of an example where there was this kind of big accessory that was popular at the time, but didn't leave people feeling a little burned. Like there's people like, oh, I gotta get rid of these guitars, this rock band. Oh, I gotta get rid of this balance board.
Yeah.
Like, was there anything you can think of where people are like, yeah, I still have this and I love it?
No.
Right.
I really don't.
Right.
DJ Hero, remember that?
Oh my gosh.
That was crazy. I'm still a little bit like traumatized from having all of the plastic accessories that I don't even.
Why?
Because it was just like such a pain in the butt.
That's a very extreme.
To try to like get rid of them and to like once you're over it, you're like, what do I do with all this stuff? Like I don't want to store this in my house. I'm still so like adverse to that me, I get rid of everything like super. I don't have a Wii U anymore. I've gotten rid of that ages ago. Like I never got Ring Fit because I was like, I don't want this stupid circle like in my house. Like it's dumb. I don't want this. So I'm a purist now. I'm like I don't want this. If I want to go to work out, I'm going to the gym, guys.
Yeah, but I think Ring Fit is a good model for going forward because I remember when we were hearing about that, it was like, well, if you're combining exercise with like more of a traditional game, like what is the real crossover interest? Like what is the audience size that wants something like that? But
people want it.
But again, like if you're just going to do like a pure exercise thing, there's so many options out there now.
Yeah.
And
you don't need to go to the gym. Actually, I take that back. Like for me, that's what I would do. But you could join a virtual class.
Apps or services, or there's so many things that are really dedicated to exercise. We also
have these accessories like Apple Watches now that tracks all of your fitness stuff.
So that really was the right move of like taking the feel of a Nintendo game and making it into exercise. And I mean, that game's done really well.
Yeah,
exactly. And I think that game is legit good. So I think we'll see more likely to see more of that.
Yeah, people have said great things about how they legit use it to work out. So that's like good on them. It's not like my cup of tea, but
I think that's better exercise than Wii Fit ever was actually. I mean, Wii Fit was more like stretching and, yoga, the balance obviously was the balance board, but like you come out of a Ring Fit session, like you got to sit down.
You do.
You haven't done it.
I've done it.
You did it once in a video and you lost.
I did okay.
Just like today, you're going to do another.
But that was for like pot shaving.
We did all sorts of things. You blocked this out of your mind. How dare you?
All right, next question from Fuwant Fuwante Zero. I'm going to say that's her name. I don't know. Okay. What do you tell people you aren't familiar with? Oh, wait, hold on. What do you tell people you aren't familiar with what you do for work?
So basically, how would you describe what you do for work?
I see.
I mean, I struggle to do this with like my own relatives who
too.
I've been talking about this for quite a while now. So
Yeah,
it's a good question and it's not easy.
It's not easy. It's like you have to describe it to them. I was actually a little worried when we were first kind of getting everything planned for this because we need to record somewhere and I wanted to ask my mom if I can record one of the empty rooms in our house. And I was like, okay, how do I describe to my mom what this is and how do I get her on board?
Yeah.
You know, because she, of course, her main concern is like, you need to have a stable job that you could like pay your mortgage with, you know, not like, you know, she's very traditional, right? She wants, you know, everything to be okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do I describe to her like how it works and how, you know, the business side of it works and all that stuff. And it is very difficult. And she's definitely was familiar with Nintendo Minute, which helped.
Right.
So that's always been a good sort of like launching pad for those discussions. But
yeah, we were having a conversation with somebody in the media recently and they said, so are you guys trying to be games media? And we said, absolutely not. No. I think there's enough.
I'm not good enough to be games
yeah,
media.
that implies a certain amount of rigor,
exactly.
which we do not have.
Yeah, I don't have that at all. Yeah, I don't have the research, like the want to research the stories, and that's a tough job.
We don't review games. But if we did,
5 out of 10,
here's how I'd
baby.
score it. I think there's enough touch points for people. Like you could say, you know, YouTuber or podcaster.
Yeah, people are familiar with these mediums now.
Yeah, content creator might be too broad for people who aren't plugged into it, but I think YouTuber or podcaster, enough people would understand.
I did have to describe this to my uncle who lives in China because when we left Nintendo, a story like kind of went like a little viral.
Yeah, you shared that with me. Yeah,
and a bunch of my relatives called me and was like, "What's happening? We did not know that you were like." Kind of out there or whatever, like doing your stuff. And I was like, I had to explain this to them. It was really interesting.
Are podcasts popular in China?
Podcasts are not as popular, but YouTube and creators are very popular. Like pretty much every sort of like product will be like, you know, all the marketing is done by creators in China at this point. Like they just have these like programs where they like home shopping network kind of things. Like that's very common. So
yeah, we learned interestingly working on the Nintendo Power podcast that Japan is not a big podcast market
either.
Jay Rando,
Jay Rando,
the legend Jay Rando
himself. Yes.
I'm curious as to your opinions on visual novels.
Oh, yes.
They're such a niche due to the amount of reading and little gameplay. So I was surprised Nintendo localized the Famicom Detective Club series last year. I'd love to see the series continue with more gameplay, kind of like Ace Attorney. Do you have a particular thoughts on the genre or any favorite games in it?
Mm-hmm. You played Doki Doki Literature Club,
I did,
which is like maybe a very like true visual novel.
Yeah, I thought he nailed it here with this, you know, amount of reading and little gameplay. I don't play a ton of these, and that's probably the reason why. I think one of my hangups also is like, it doesn't move. It moves a little too slowly for me.
It doesn't move at your pace. It moves at the pace of the game, right?
Yeah, like Ace Attorney, I played a few iterations back. I don't know if that would be considered a visual novel.
Yeah,
but
it's very story driven.
But like I had like a solution that was a couple steps ahead where they wanted me to be, and I was like, I can't get past this, and I realized, like you got to do these other more basic things to get to that.
Yeah.
So sometimes I just can find myself feeling a little bit bored at the pace.
Yeah. I actually love the Ace Attorney games. I don't know if that counts as, again, a visual novel, but I think that is a good balance of enough gameplay with the reading where it doesn't feel that boring. And like, you know, I think with visual novels, the idea is that you are sort of really engrossed in the story. You want to unravel some sort of mystery or some sort of like big story plot twist.
Yeah.
And they need to have ways, the game needs to have ways to like keep your attention. And I think Ace Attorney does a really good job of doing that with like the different like ways you can like look at the evidence, and if there's more like puzzle elements kind of built in, or like more visual, you know, sort of visual gameplay elements built in.
Yeah.
So they do a good job, and I actually really love that series.
I never like the feeling it feels like you're playing a spreadsheet, you know?
Yeah,
And
okay.
sometimes the presentation can be so
Sure.
bare bones.
Or
But
like
then
a
it's like,
flow
well,
chart.
but then it's like, well, what is a book? It's a bunch of words. But
Pages.
I have no hang up with that. So
Yeah.
it's clearly my own issue.
Yeah.
I mean, this genre seems to have
Really taken off.
to be growing. So
Yeah. Especially on Switch too, because it's
Yeah.
handheld, so you can easily like lay
Right.
down in bed and play it before bed,
Yeah.
or play it
So
while
I
you're
think
relaxing on the plane or something like
yeah,
that.
I think it's an exciting time if you like this genre. The Famicom Detective Club games, I don't know why they chose to bring those out. I was certainly surprised. I wasn't
Yeah.
familiar with those, but that's awesome to get that sort of a deep cut. So
Yeah, exactly.
kudos to them.
Jordan Collette. Now that you don't have a full-time job with meetings, emails, and deadlines, what have you done with the new free time that during the podcast has given you, that during the past has given you that you weren't able to do before?
Yeah, and there were kind of a couple questions along this lines. Basically, like what do you do every day of the week?
Yeah,
Like what's your guys'
surprisingly
schedule?
a lot. Like it's
So we can take you guys through it. So today is a Monday,
Yep.
which is our big recording day. It's kind of, the one big day of the week where we're together and
Yeah.
making content.
Yeah, we usually record the podcast and then we record an episode of the Kit and Krysta show. And then because we're not, together during the weeks, if we have to do anything else together for social media, like
Right.
a TikTok, we do
Right.
a lot of our TikToks today
Yeah.
as well. So we can, we do those, we come prepared with ideas
Mm-hmm.
on what the social media calendar is going to
Yeah.
look like that week.
We do our Patreon pre-show
Yep.
today. So
Exactly.
today's a very packed day.
It's really packed, and we usually
Yeah.
really have to be sticklers on the schedule and
Exactly.
start right away
Right,
and
right,
finish
right.
right away. And then during the week, we actually have quite a lot of meetings and emails, not just with each other, but with like potential sponsors
Yeah.
or other, we get people reach out to us to do preview events, for example,
Mm-hmm.
or when we were working with Mr. Kamioka, like his team was working with us on
Right.
getting those questions translated for
Right.
you guys. So there is still an element of what we're doing in the corporate world.
Yeah,
of emails.
yeah, we do approach this like a business, so there's
Yeah.
some work that we need to do to keep that going.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Tuesday's
exactly.
kind of the day where we get the podcast in shape.
Yep, we do a big editing day for me and,
yeah.
and Kit. You do all the audio stuff.
And then when you're done with that, you start on the show and you start editing that.
Yeah.
And then when it becomes time to put any one of these things out, it's like we're on a lot of channels, so it's a lot of different buttons to press,
Yeah.
and content to prep, and little things to write, and assets done certain ways that work on certain
Square
platforms.
versus vertical versus whatever.
Yeah. So there's a lot of permutations
Yeah.
of that.
And then, of course, we're looking very deeply at the data, and
Right.
not only just on YouTube, but across our social media channels. And then we read all of your comments,
Mm-hmm.
and we talk, weekly, every day, pretty much. Kit and I meet every single day, and we talk about like what can we do to improve, what
Yeah.
should next week's show look like, what is the rundown for that.
Yeah, it's typically Wednesdays when we, when the podcast is basically done and it's out to Patreon. On Wednesdays, we start talking about the next week, and you
week's
can
show,
see we
yeah.
have 8 pages of notes to get us
Yeah.
through one of these things.
Yeah, to
so
plan for the
that's
show.
kind of the
Yeah.
next thing to piece together.
And then
so
we also do the bonus Q&A during the week.
Right,
We record
right.
that sometimes on Thursdays
Yeah.
or Wednesdays
Yeah.
afternoons.
so it's a different flow of work, style of work from being in a big company, but it's still
Full week.
it's an honest day's work.
Honest
Yeah.
day's work. Yeah. Last week felt really busy because
Last week was incredibly
had the
busy.
virtual event and
Yeah.
the trivia
We had a
tower
lot of
stuff.
evening
And then we had a
obligations,
couple
yeah.
other meetings with some partners that we were working
Right,
with as
right,
well.
right.
So we were like, wait, why is this week so busy?
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lot.
Carter, do you have any memorable stories from working on the launch of a Luigi's Mansion game? I was one of the event producers for Indiecade at E3 2019, where our space was right next to the giant life-size mansion for Luigi's Mansion 3.
That was so
When the event staff were allowed to go in for an early preview of the games, I beelined for that mansion.
Nice.
I'm really curious about the work that went on behind the scenes.
Oh my gosh, this is another one of those our event team is absolutely incredible moments. And
Yeah.
of course, they built the Legend of Breath of the Wild booth the year before, right? And
Yeah.
then the year after was the Luigi's Mansion. And I think there was this like sense of we want this to be kind of like Disneyland.
Right.
Like we want our booth to feel like you're walking into this like entertainment amusement park. And I thought that was such a great take on an E3 booth where you could just feel like here's a bunch of systems and you can play these games. Just taking that to that next level of making it feel like you're like totally immersed in the environment it was such a cool like next step for the events team to do after Breath of the Wild booth.
And we got to go through that with Mr. Tanabe, who was the Japanese producer on the game, as well as a couple folks from Next Level Games.
Yeah.
And it was really fun to see it through their eyes.
So fun. And like they were pointing out all these little Easter eggs.
They knew that thing inside and out.
Like this ghost that goes by this way, you'll meet him like on this floor and his backstory is like all this. And of course my favorite thing about that booth is Polter Pup.
Oh,
you like scurry by and the projection of the Polter Pup. And Mr. Tanabe told me that was his favorite too. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that we were both Polter Pup fans.
And then you did a big event right before the game came out with a bunch of Nintendo content creators. I did not go to that, but it looked really cool.
That was our last hurrah.
It was literally in like a mansion, right?
It was in like a mansion in LA, and we even built like a fake elevator.
What?
I'll put some pictures in, and we had like the bellhops all dressed up, just like in the game. And you would sort of start in the lobby. We brought some elements in from the Luigi's Mansion E3 booth, so you can take photos and stuff. And then you would go through, and it was like this ridiculous, like it was like we had the real life poltergeist there.
Right.
You could like do this photo op where you're like the leaves were flying around.
Right.
I mean, it was so cool. It was like the coolest thing. And it was like the environment was just so well done.
Yeah.
But,
that game really lends itself well to that sort of event experience.
Exactly. It was perfect for that.
Link. What is your least favorite game genre, and are there any games from that genre you love nonetheless?
Don't come at me, everyone. My least favorite game genre is fighting games. Sorry.
But why?
It's just so bad at them.
Oh, okay.
So bad. But I love several games from that genre.
Arms.
I am good at arms, but no one wants to play arms with me.
Strangely good at arms.
Strangely good at arms.
Yeah.
Again, that was like such a slap in the face because finally I was like, finally a fighting game that I'm good at, and then it's like a game that no one ever wanted to play. It's like great. But no, I do like playing Smash, and I like playing Street Fighter, and I played and owned all those games.
Yeah.
I remember when Street Fighter, I think it was Street Fighter. Oh, no. Which one was the one at Xbox 360?
4?
4.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 4. Yes. I was like, okay, this is the one.
Yeah.
I'm going to really buckle down. I'm going to learn how to do these combos. And I had that like manual in front of me. And like my fingers I can't do it. Like that weird like half moon thing. And you press the button at the same time. Like I don't have the dexterity to do it. So
sorry.
Fighting games. Sorry.
Okay. I would say puzzle games.
Oh,
I generally just don't come to video games for that kind of like brain teaser experience.
I love the brain teaser.
Like I'm really looking for something that's a bit more like twitchy, action oriented. So, and I also am just like really bad at some of those like traditional Zelda puzzles. I am so bad at, which is why I really like Breath of the Wild a lot more than the quote traditional Zelda experience. I know a lot of people want dungeons back. I'm like, keep the dungeons out because I can my puny brain.
I do like the Guardian dungeons. The Divine Beast.
Yeah, I didn't have as much trouble with those, which was good. Yeah. And, puzzle is a broad genre. I think Tetris is still a puzzle game, but I mean that's a really just perfect kind of game. So I have a lot of respect for Tetris. I'll play, versions of Tetris. I like Tetris.
Yeah. But so you're not going for like Professor Layton.
No. Oh no. Like what was that? I'm blanking on the name, but it was the guy who did Braid. He had a game that came out a few years ago. It's the something. I'm blanking on it. It was like really like hardcore puzzles. And I was like, I will never play this. This is the opposite of a good time for me.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. So I'm good at puzzle games, and you're good at fighting games, which is.
I'm not good at fighting games. You got to stop saying that.
You really are.
I'm very
average. I don't
average.
know why you
I'm
say
average.
that. I don't believe that at all. I think you're really. Anyways, okay. Ryan Hayes, with a timestamp. My God. Okay, yes. And a thumbs up. Well, you talk about these personalized amiibo in the background. Those are super cool. Yes, of course we will.
Here and here. Yes.
And here. These are made by our wonderful friend,
Gonda Chris.
Gonda Chris.
Yeah.
Who you probably know. She's an amazing artist. She used to do these a lot, and I think she still does them from time to time. She has a very vast skill set of talent. But she made these custom amiibo for us.
Out of the blue.
Yeah,
she just showed up at an E3 and was like, I have something for you.
It
was these incredible amiibo.
I know. The thing about her is the attention to detail.
Yeah.
Like, she has done such a good job with even the box, getting that printed perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, the amiibo just matched the ones that we were using at the time, like, perfectly. Even down to the clothes that I was wearing. I was wearing an SNES sweatshirt.
This is based on a Mitomo outfit.
Exactly, that I loved. And I wanted in real life badly.
Interesting bit of trivia. So the back end, the cardboard backer is made by one of her collaborators, Seth Hay, who did this 300 episodes piece for us.
Seth did this
so
for
it's
us.
very nice that they're sitting right next to each other.
Yeah, but she's incredible.
Yeah.
We'll link her.
You should look up her work because she's got
below because she's
great
got
examples,
some amazing things. Yeah.
Link Master.
Link Master.
Not the link 2 questions before. Have you all read the book Ask Iwata Words of Wisdoms from Satoru Iwata? I just recently read it and absolutely loved it. What about other gaming related books? Any recommendations?
Yes, we have definitely read this book. It was so interesting to read it because Kit and I both knew Mr. Iwata pretty well and had the privilege to work with him for many years. And so it's kind of like the same experience that we have, I think, that we'll have when we read Reggie's book.
Yeah.
Because it's like we were there when they would tell us these things in real life. So reading it on paper, like Mr. Iwata's Iwata-isms, as they say, like reading them on paper again, it's like I could hear his voice in my head in that meeting, like saying those things to me with that big smile on his face. And it was just like such a great, it was like a warm, fuzzy feeling, you know?
This was the one and only time that we did a work book club.
We did.
It was when this book came out and people were very into it.
I think that was so much fun and so interesting because everybody had varying sort of,
a lot of the people who were in that had never met him.
Yeah. And so we were happy to share some of our stories. We should do a One-Up Club book club for Reggie's book.
Oh, we should.
Maybe for our next meetup.
That sounds fun.
That sounds fun.
It's a great idea.
Maybe we should do that.
Other gaming books.
You just gave me one.
I gave you
of Doom.
Masters of Doom, which is about sort of
reading it.
the beginnings of id Software. That's none of these are super new, but you can still find it.
That's a good book.
Very interesting.
Really interesting.
Game Over is one that I don't know if it's still in print.
We all read that book.
But it was about kind of like the NES days of Nintendo.
I think there's a couple quotes from like Don Jones.
There's a lot of disputes about how accurate a lot of the information there is, but it's a page turner. Very good. And then there's another one by a guy named Stephen Ken. I think it's like the ultimate history of video games that is just a good kind of top line overview of, kind of from the beginning to like maybe the mid 90s or so. If you're just looking to get a good foundation. But
there's also some pretty good gaming documentaries.
I'll also say anything by our good friend Jeremy Parrish.
Oh my gosh, Jeremy Parrish is incredible. And
I don't know. I mean, he's a workhorse. I don't know how he finds the time.
Like 10 jobs.
He's cranking out videos. He's doing Retronauts. He's written all these books on all the platforms with like very detailed summaries.
He's also a very accomplished artist. He drew this beautiful piece for me, and he does like maps and stuff like that.
I don't.
Yeah, he's another Renaissance man.
So look him up if you haven't. We adore Jeremy Parrish.
We do.
Kai Commercio asks, is there a market you feel is missed potential that Nintendo is missing out on? Like as not having things like shows or like putting music on music services like Spotify. I think there's a lot of options here.
All of it. No, just kidding. Music is definitely a huge one that I'm just like always like, why though? Yeah. Nintendo's tried, I think, very sort of like not to the fullest. They did the concerts, the Legend of Zelda concerts. That was kind of cool, but they're really cagey
but never actually releasing it. And as we've mentioned a number of times, there are legal issues, but again, it's nothing that is like impossible to resolve. It just requires the focus and attention to solve it.
Exactly. Shows, well, we know how this movie is going, not great, so maybe they can't do that.
The one that I would call out is the historical stuff.
Yeah.
And I was so happy and frankly relieved when they announced the Nintendo Gallery coming to Uji, which is right next to Kyoto. because it just felt like the company was neglecting that.
Yeah.
And it's like, at some point, this stuff gets lost. The history, the very
gone.
important, rich history is lost. So hopefully now that brings
You
apart
need an archivist
like a
to go
proper
in.
archiving,
Yeah.
Putting things away to be, restored, kept
Yeah.
in
Put
good
it
condition.
in the loose site, people.
Right. When I started in my job and overseeing original content, I pitched like a million different ideas. And one was like, let's make some really high-end documentaries.
Yeah.
And I was...
We're going to reach out to the gaming historian to help us make these.
I was promptly told, no, thank you.
Yeah, we were be shut down.
And it was like, it just was, the interest just wasn't there. And I was like...
so weird.
I was like, it's like, Nintendo is the foundation of the gaming industry now.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, like, it's a big business opportunity too. Like,
Yeah.
Documentaries, books, museums, like, it's like, yes, they serve a valuable public good, but you can also make a lot of money off of those too.
Right. Yeah.
So I didn't understand why there wasn't more activity there. So
Yeah.
I'm so happy and relieved it's happening.
Yeah,
now.
hopefully that's going to be a good, that's going to be a solid effort. I have a strong feeling that a lot of this history is just like, quote, in somebody's desk.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
Right.
Like they do not have a good system of like saving things to a public server.
Yeah.
Like we heard all these crazy stories about like how, like the games are not on the cloud and so they were on these individual computers. It's like, this is dangerous. Like you could lose it forever.
Well,
And not even know you lost it.
A few years ago, there was I'm blanking on his name. I think it's Masaki Uemura. Please don't come after me if I got that wrong. Basically, he designed the original NES. And he was part of this exhibit at the Strong Museum in Rochester.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
And he was giving a talk there. And we connected him with Jeremy Parrish.
Right.
Who it was funny, we just mentioned him.
Yeah.
To do kind of an in-depth interview. And I remember Jeremy came away from that saying, he's like, wow, I can't believe how much knowledge he has that I hadn't heard before, that just wasn't out there.
Yeah.
And he passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do we maintain this history and these stories and these incredible people who made it all happen?
Part of this very important history. Yeah. So it's kind of like a scary thing that Nintendo does not take seriously, which is unfortunate. But glad to see that the museum is happening.
That's a big step forward.
Hopefully it's something that is going to really help to capture some of that. All right, last question from Switching It Up. Underscore. Don't
miss that.
Sorry, underscore. As a Nintendo fan, the Wii U days were dark and a bit depressing. Yes, they were. I love Nintendo so much, but to have to hear all the negative press about the time was hard to read and listen to. Nintendo Minute was a shining light for me. This is a two-part question. One, did you guys feel the negativity around Wii U and how did that affect your planning for Nintendo Minute? Two, did you feel having to present information about Wii U knowing it was not performing as expected and staying positive on camera? That was definitely a very interesting time. We talked a little bit about how Nintendo is good about like kind of maintaining,
staying on course, yeah,
during a hard time like that. But yeah, I definitely wasn't. I mean, you definitely knew that it wasn't going well.
Yeah. On one hand, the sales were bad, but on the other hand, the games were really good.
Right.
So
especially later in the Wii U days.
I don't think we ever had to hang our head like, oh, this game is a dog or anything. It's like, no, like we had awesome games on the Wii U. There's just nobody who had the system to play them, which is why you see them now on the Switch and they're doing great, which is nice.
Exactly.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the only thing about the Wii U that was just a constant reminder of how it wasn't going well is the confusion. Yeah. Like how people just everywhere you went and you would talk about Wii U and people would just say like, "Oh, you mean that new controller for the Wii?" And you're like, "Oh my gosh, it's still not happening."
I had
that's tough.
My number one moment of shame for working at Nintendo shortly after the Wii U came out, and it was over that Thanksgiving break right after it had come out, and I got together with some of my friends. I was like, "Oh, I have the Wii U. Let's try it out. Let's try this Nintendo Land." And everyone's like, "All right, yeah, that sounds great. Let's go." And we booted it up, and we got into a menu, and it crashed. It's like, oh, okay. Well, that won't happen again. So we, booted it up. That's a long boot up. Everybody's like, all right, here we go.
Loading.
Got exactly to the same point, crashed again. And it's like,
Oh, boy.
well, getting unlucky. Let's try it again. Crashed for a third straight time. And at that point, everybody's like, let's do something else. And I had never felt a moment of shame like that until that point. Where it's like, this is really not up to the company's standard. The Nintendo seal of quality
was shaken to the core during the Wii U days.
I really felt bad about that moment. I was like, this sucks.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want that to happen to anybody.
No.
Anybody that paid money for something like that and
Right.
want to, play with their friends and family, and having that happen is terrible. It's not a quality product if that's the case, Yeah, it wasn't great, but yes, the games are good. We're glad we're past the Wii U days, and now we can move on to better days. Yes.
All right.
Hooray!
Special
we made
moment.
It.
Shouting out our One Up Club members. We got some new people here.
No!
Some new ones for you to attend. It's a new month. A lot of new people sign up at the start of every month.
That's true, but now I have to pronounce their names. Okay.
All right. Are you starting or am I?
You're starting.
All right. Here we go. A. Ron Burgundy.
Aaron Hash.
Adam Edwards.
Ajan Malari.
Alexandra Pratt.
Ali.
Andre NYH.
Angela Bycroft.
Angelo Vega.
Ben Eichhorn.
Bettina Tang.
Blue Toad.
Brian Humphreys.
Chancellor Fairley.
Christopher Lay.
Captain Alex.
Daniel Cold.
Dachshund.
David Zeck.
Douglas Chomix.
Drew Grant.
Dino Punch, all caps.
Ed Sandwich.
Eigenverse.
Elite Peach.
Sparts 50.
Fairbound.
Gar.
Garrett Hullfish.
Handheld Gamer.
Handsome Warrior.
Ian Shit.
Israel or Izzy.
J Rando.
Jackie Z.
Jason E.
JK99.
JBJ.
Jeff Yoakum.
Jeremy Amasher. Jeremy Amasher.
Jesse Hernandez.
Jim Wakelin.
Jobert.
John Responte.
Jonathan Rowe.
Jordan Collette.
Jordan Hemmerly.
Jordan Thomas.
Jordy Kirk.
Juan.
Just Camtro.
Carter with a K.
Kawa2796.
Kevin.
Kevin Delane.
Kyle Kretzer.
Kyler Nelson.
Lego My Froggo. I was like, where am I?
Link.
Linked Triforce.
Link Master.
Luminous.
Lucamania.
Lucas Pico.
Luis.
Luis Calcano.
Maru Mayhem.
Matt McCarthy.
Matthew Rewald.
Michael Cravens.
Michael J. File.
Michael Mazer.
Mike Chin.
Mikey.
Murph.
My Tran.
Nick Waterman.
Nod Narb.
Parker Anderson.
Patreon user.
Paul Gale Network.
Piano Psychopath.
Pirates TCG Grudges Forever.
Wait, what? Okay. Prince Charmless.
PS Wii.
Raver.
Rad State of Mind.
Rain Tech.
Raphael.
Rob Osborne.
Rocks.
Roy Etchke.
Ryan Hayes 521.
Ryanetta.
Sam Neeland.
Shinryu.
Slowbro.
Spicy Munchkin.
Starholt Productions.
Steel Citron.
Switching It Up _
The Dad's After Dark Show.
The Don Rob.
Thomas.
Thomas Alvarez.
Tugs Puppy Bear.
Tyler Geis.
VGM Life.
Victor Yee.
Video Game Stupid.
Beautiful Dandy.
Virtual Bot.
What's Up Flapjack.
Wicked Davy.
Will Ernst.
Zuderverf.
Nice.
Woohoo! I think I did
Did
better
it.
than ever this time.
I'm just glad that we have this trio of Jordans. I like that.
I liked all the Michaels. The trio of Jordans.
I like it.
The Triforce of Jordans, as it were.
And we have the links too.
We have the links,
Yeah.
the many links. Yay! That is a show,
Woo.
everyone. We did it. Well, we are again very excited for Reggie's book. So you guys definitely go pick it up. It is out this week. So
Out now.
should be out
Out now.
by the time you listen to this podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our Patreon. It's patreon.com/Kit and Krysta. A new month. So you get a full month of benefits. We have 3 different tiers for you to choose from. And we're having a lot of fun with our Patreon family. And we're looking forward to doing more with you guys. What else? Please don't forget to follow us on our other social media channels. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and of course YouTube. It's all Kit and Krysta. So we'll put the thing here. And yeah, if you like this podcast, please like and subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Did I do it?
You did it.
I did it.
Way to go.
Okay, we're going to go now. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.